go. Okay, good evening, everybody. It is 10 to 11 GMT. I have a very special guest, or two even. I've got a surprise guest, so we have two today. It's still the 1st of December, 2018, the year of our Lord, and thank you for joining, everyone. We have Brother Santos of the Bonacci clan, tribe, estate, family, and I'll introduce you as his soulmate then, Violet, if I may. And thank you both for joining, and it's an honour and a privilege to have, as my subscribers know, someone who's played an integral part in the research and development of our movement so far within the civil, lawful, judicial and divine realm. So yeah, tonight's hangout is an informal hangout, subscribers and viewers. It's to do with our rights, our sovereignty, our divinity, the majority, somewhat of the citizens there, and the law in itself. That would be the governance of man, the governance of us. I would like to point out that I am governed, everyone. You've got the free man and man's running around Anglo territory saying we're not governed and X, Y, and Z, but I assure you I am fully governed, and I have a morality code and an ethics and, you know, somewhat of a governance there, and it's self-governing, and I'm quite proud of how I go about that. And we have a trust established, Santos. It is an express private trust, and it is going to be a year old on the 3rd of December. The anniversary will be this Monday. I'm very, very happy about that, ecstatic to say the least, because express private trusts and, you know, legal trusts, testamentary trusts, testators. You've just had a chat with me about words, the words that end in OR. Oh, I do like them, creditor and so forth. So that's .com is doing well. And as I say, it's Express Private Trust, the technology that I've been talking to you and Violet about in private and previously on other hangouts. So Santos, you can introduce where you're at if you'd like then, and you know what, how you know you are, and there's a lot of concern over here for you. There's a lot of love for you as well. You are a living legend, I would like to say, not just to me, but to a great many thousand, you know, out there, and not just on YouTube. Your efforts and your work, you know, precede you, and your reputation is one of the highest that you know we could ever find out there in the realm of the many areas that you cover. So I've set you up well, brother. Off you go. Thank you very much.
Too nice. Thank you so kindly. Very, very kind. So where am I up to? Well, health has been an issue for many years for me. I don't have diseases. I don't have anything wrong with me other than whatever has contaminated me, i.e. vaccines maybe. I've only had a few when I was young, very few. Dental work, definitely. Heavy metal poisonings. From talking to many, many people around the world, I've found that consistently they are telling me that what I have is a problem with what people would call generically Morgellons, chemtrail, mold, and whatever else they put in the chemtrails, NanoBots, dew, direct energy weapons. And I now know why I have been tortured for the last, I would say the torturing, there were bits of torture before 2007, 2008, but it was bearable. It was bearable. But after 2008, especially, did this itching that I have, an insidious, unrelenting, sadistic, intelligent itch under my skin all the time. And it would be always associated with rumbling in the GI tract. So this was quite strange. Now, Violet's seen all this. Violet's seen the worst. When she arrived in Australia, I was at the cottage on the permaculture farm. That cottage was full of mold, And she saw me at my worst. She saw the itching. She saw how I'd have to get up in the middle of the night and go and have a hot shower. I didn't have a bath in the cottage. And it would take about an hour of hot water just to wash this thing away. So we did a lot of intense protocols. We did bowel restore, both of us. We removed buckets of mucoid plaque from our GI tract. We've done lots of protocols, Violet and I. She was here for 8 months. Now she's back in California. And so she's also seen the improvement. But as I said, last night I didn't sleep a wink. So I'm really, really tired. Please excuse me if I start sounding like I am mumbling and not coherent, because I'm really tired. I'm itching. I have had the best 2 months with regards to sleep and itching probably ever. So I am improving because I'm fighting it on all fronts. And all the protocols that I've learned are getting better and better. So I'm winning, but this thing is lingering. And I find that every time they spray, what they do here in Queensland is they spray with vaccines. And they do it at night. And I wake up in the morning. Now, I used to do this quite a bit at the cottage, and I would have allergy symptoms. Here, I haven't had that until last week. I woke up and I had the flu for the whole day. It came and it went. Runny nose. It has to be spraying. They're spraying stuff that they've not even tested. They've militarized all of their procedures. As you well know, the judicial system that we're under is directly, it's military, and indirectly, it is ecclesiastical. Okay, it's a church, and it's a kingdom, the king and the priest. So it has two essential, fundamental natures. But the military part is the part of, the king and getting action done. And so they've militarized the hospitals, everything they do, all their procedures, it's all military. This is why you have to be discharged from hospital. You have, a general, what's he called? He's called a Surgeon General. Why is he a general? Because it's the military. It's a military officer that runs the hospitals, you see, under the Knights of St. John and St. Malta, rather, etc. But this is the point. The military doesn't care about health. It cares about its procedures, you see. So I definitely have been tortured. I've never really spoken about this till about 4 months ago, because I started getting better, and I didn't want to sound like some kind of crazy guy, saying that he's targeted. People were telling me years ago, they were telling me I was targeted, and it's EMF and due. And but I tried to keep that as not the first port of call, not the first thing to give an offer as reasons for being unwell. But certainly I do remember in 2008, I just lost 10 kilos almost overnight. It was weird. And I haven't been able to put those kilos back. I've inched away and I'm halfway there, but I'm still underweight. I was always 63 kilos all my life, never been more than 63. And now I'm always floating around 53, 54, 55, got up to 57 a couple of weeks ago. So this is my battle, trying to put the weight on. And people will be pointing at the fact that I've been vegetarian for 10 years. See, it's funny how things happen, they coincide. I started being vegetarian and I started losing weight at the same time. And so superficial people and etc. would point to the fact that I need to eat meat, you see, and the vegetarian diet is the cause, etc. This is not true. This is what I call people who judge a fish by how well it climbs a tree. You know, fishes don't climb trees, so you can't ever judge a fish in that capacity. So people make erroneous judgments. They see things out of context from the projection of their own minds. Hence why Jesus says, judge correctly. In some cases, he says, judge not. But in other cases, he says, judge correctly. Okay? Judgment is a part of the human intellectual process. We have to make judgments. Yeah.
Go, so Vern, meant. Go. It is go. Sorry to interrupt you, brother, but yeah, meant, mind, Vern, green. Go, Vern, Italian green, isn't it? Vern, meant, mind, go, Vern, mean, go, green, mind, meant. It's, yes, we see this.
That's
now.
right.
These connections.
Right.
Yes. And I think there's a scripture with someone in one of the Gospels, and there's a lady, and she's been caught being naughty, we'll say, in the social realm, and there's all this hoo-ha going off, and Jesus is upon them, and he says, let those among you with no sin cast judgment on this lady. And do you know what happens in that chapter there? They all disperse, and the lady's left on her own, and Jesus goes, right then, you've learned your lesson, you're not going to do that again, are you? And she went, no. And he goes, right, crack on. And she went, thank you, Jesus. And I was like, that's lovely. It's a lovely way to put something. Let those with no sin amongst you, or, and we've all got it, and we all judge, and we're all guilty to some extent. But being a judge in itself, as you know, brother, is really a banker. He's not a judge. He's there to just do business for the crown and so forth. So as you're saying about the poisons and the toxins, and some of the ways that we see things happening now, as 20 years ago they didn't, and weather conditions, or what we see patterns in the environment and the animals and nature, eating dead things, as Dr. Sebi said, as both you and I think Sister Violet may be onto this as well. I do have a hunch, but he said electric food, and dead things are dead, aren't they, bro? And if you eat dead things, you become dead energy. So especially with the additives they put in, but electric live things, and being a vegetarian is the correct, I would say. Yeah, it's hard for me to not eat the swine, the bacon over here, because we love English, love the bacon, brown sauce, HP, daddies, it don't matter as long as it's brown, and then the eggs and bacon, builders and whatnot. But to turn it off, it's really hard, the programming and the smell, and the swine in itself. You have your morality code, and vegetables are what the body needs, water and vegetables ultimately, and we get told to eat dead carcasses because they fill us up and they're full of protein, but ultimately they're a sentient being that has a right to existence, do they not? Yeah.
Yes, that's the point. People who argue against veganism, oh, but plants get killed too, don't they? Well, no, they don't. Plants get assimilated. That's what they get into the human body. It's called chlorophyll. Flesh, corpses, cannot be assimilated into the human body. Therefore, the animal was murdered simply for the energy that they derive from the adrenaline in the blood from the murdered animal, because animals are not stupid. Animals are smarter than human beings. They know when they are being herded into a truck, taken somewhere strange, to a big shed where they can smell the blood of their ancestors and their friends. And so the adrenaline, you can see they're under stress from the moment they hit that truck, and the adrenaline is pumping through their veins. So the flesh is full of adrenaline. These people get an adrenaline fix. That's why they're addicted. They're vampires. They are blood lust addicts. That's what flesh eaters are.
Yes,
Bloodlust gluttons. And gluttons will...
Sorry, you've got the dead walking around now, as we both know, so quite profoundly. You know, the man is walking around not under God anymore, but that source code connection has been cut, and we are in persona. We're not in personam, we're in persona, and we've got the mask on. The whole world is a stage, and we have claimed the dead certificate, the debtor part of the state, and we're going around thinking we're the Mr. and Mrs., you know, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and we're quite happy to do that. And you know, as we see it in the realm of divinity, law, righteousness, sovereignty, the title there for this video, we are not living how we're supposed to live. We are not. We are existing, if I may say, you know, and how we are, and our social sector, our historical sector, our food sector, our you know, whole intelligence somewhat is been put into question over the last 10 years since we've indigos and light workers and rainbows, and you know, we've collected up. This is why we're here tonight, because I'm 41. I'm born 78. I'm an ex-DJ, warehouse manager. I'm not a barrister, solicitor in the Law Society. I've no intention of that. 5 years ago, I didn't understand acquiescence and estoppel, so you know, we've gone on a learning curve, and we've learned, and we said, oh, you know, the most common question I get asked, brother, is, David, how do I prove I'm not dead? I'm like, well, you're talking to me, aren't you? There you go. If I pinch you, you know, you feel that, don't you? There you go. You're not dead. Yeah, but you know what I mean? I'm like, well, you mean, how do you, you know, repel the assumptions and presumptions of things, you know, and that's where we're at today, that man's totally lost, brother, sister, subscribers in all directions, who we are, where we're going, and how best to look after ourselves. You know, the nutritional standards, you know, are far, you know,
Yes.
It's just what they put in it, the additives, Food and Drug Administration, you know, and our yield. Off you go. Thank you.
Yes, well, it's exactly. You mentioned what we put into our bodies. What kind of energy are we putting into our bodies? When we eat a plant, we haven't killed the plant. Plants don't get killed. The roots are still in the ground, and they can keep growing. You pick a cherry, you don't kill the tree. But you have a ham sandwich, you have to kill the whole pig. Okay, so plants don't get killed, they get transmuted. And that's the purpose of plants, to feed human beings. They have a purpose. Animals have a purpose, which is also to live. So when we kill an animal, we murder, because we downgrade them. We stop them in their evolution process. They have a different law, a different process of evolution. Plants are not autonomous, so they don't need to have the same law. It's a different law. And so this is where people have lost their thinking ability, you see, and they will defend their flesh eating with all kinds of twisted, upside down arguments that have been fed to them by the mind virus of the parasites that have taught humans about killing and the death cult which they are in. You see, that it's like a pedophile. You know, good luck trying to tell a pedophile that it's not good to have sex with 2-year-old babies. That's what it's like trying to tell a flesh eater that it's not right. It's not right, and they can't hear or see that it's not. So people will defend. You know, they'll defend their wrong position, their mind virus, and this is what my work is trying to do, you know, especially with sovereignty. When I first woke up to this, I went right into it. And then the problem I ran into there, David, is that I did it in fear. I didn't have love. And the more I discovered about how corrupt the system is, and how the courts, and how it's all based on ecclesiastical stuff, and what I uncovered about the papal bulls and the Seswi KV Trust and the straw man name and everything like that. So I started getting active and fighting in a arena which I was not well versed in. Well, I guess I had a lot of information, but I didn't know how to deal in chords. You know, I was mixing systems, you know, and which got me into trouble. But the point is this: I tackled it with fear. You know, I had a lot of fear of the system, because what I projected, that fear came back to me. It came back to nest, and it got me into trouble and into jail twice, and all kinds of trouble that I didn't need to get into. I really didn't. What I needed to do was continue studying, be peaceable, and in the love mode rather than being in fear. See, there are two things that I don't tell people, and one is that I've been tortured by this itch and sleep deprivation, and also that I have fear. You know, I watch a lot of content every day because I'm a researcher and I cannot stop. So I'm watching all the good videos that give me hope, and I'm also studying and researching stuff that really scares me, like 5G and these nanobots and transhumanism. These things really give me anxiety. I'm not perfect. Whoa, I am so a lot of work to do when it comes to stress, fear, and anxiety, and self-undoing. I'm the master of self-undoing. I've sabotaged many good things that could have come my way in my life due to this. I'm convinced now, I know that it's to this external, all these external mechanisms, Morgellons, chemtrails, dew, targeted individual, all of these things I now know, and I can say I have the evidence that I'm a targeted individual. Violet's seen it. Many other people have seen it. Back in 2014 as well, both my two now ex-wives, because we were, back then I was still with my second wife, Hiromi, and I was staying with my first wife and Hiromi, all in the same house due to some circumstances. And for 10 days straight, I don't know what they hit me with, but I didn't sleep, and I was itching with welts all over my body. My face was puffed up, sneezing, allergy. Oh, it was demented. That was probably the worst, but Violet's actually seen, probably, 5-6 days straight, no sleep and itching at the most. But the thing is, it was consistent. And these consistent itching, and I also got a tick bite in November last year, which really set me back a lot. And so these things really give me stress and fear. And when I first got on the truth path, the real truth path, because I always considered myself to be a truther, but of course I couldn't have been until you wake up to all things. Your mind has to be open, and you have to be humble enough to accept that what you were taught, everything of it, is wrong. And you have to empty your mind and start again and relearn and educate yourself, as Leonardo da Vinci said. Don't keep repeating what you were taught just because you were taught it, he said. You have to use your own mind. And even if the whole world, the consensus is against you, that you do your own thinking. You see, so I've learned a lot in that area, and it's helped me to see that where I've gone wrong. And I'm correcting a lot of things now that it comes to health as well. and improving. And of course, life improves as well. I've been blessed with a beautiful partner. Violet has pretty much been there to nurse me to health. She has been absolutely diligent in jumping from remedies that don't work to new protocols, new modalities. And she has always been researching how to help heal me and herself. She's been healed as well. We've both healed each other. She's healed me, and I've healed her. And she was we went through the stage where we thought it was bile, not enough bile in the digestion. Then we thought it was proteins. Let's reduce the chickpeas and the proteins in the diet. Then we went to the stage where we thought it might be starch, of course, a la Dr. Sebi. Then we thought it was fruit, and the fruit juices that I was making, the sugar, was. And then we went through the stage where she thought it was just my aggression and anger due to the sleepless nights, and that I was aggravating it. And we saw the connection there as well. And we went through all the stages. Violet might remember now, if you want to jump in, Violet, any other stages. We went through everything. It's been 12 months, 13 months since Violet came in October 2017. We have not stopped. We have done tens and tens of enemas. We've spent hundreds and thousands of dollars on colonics together. Oh my, what haven't we done? We've gone everywhere to see healers and great, beautiful people along the way. We've met all the great healers on the Sunshine Coast here, Violet and I.
Yeah.
It's been an amazing journey, brother. Really, really amazing. Violet might be able to fill in some of the blanks there and what she might be able to add.
Yeah. Yeah, well, a lot of it was, we thought it was parasites and mold too. That was a really big one, the parasites and the mold, because, what we learned too was that because he was living in that cottage, it was in like a ravine. So it was really hot and moist there. So there was a lot of mold growing on the ceiling and in the corners of the sink. And so, we were doing all this research, and I've been poisoned by black mold before because I used to live really close to the coast. And yeah, so we did all the protocols for that to get rid of all the mold within our lungs, in our digestion. With the parasites, we did all kinds of cleanses where we took lots of, high concentrated herbs to flush all of the remaining parasites that cling onto your intestines. And, we also did the research that the dew weapons that he just mentioned is, man, there was a time when we were there where there was a thunderstorm in the middle of summertime. And all of a sudden, when we woke up the next morning, we were all really foggy headed, and our clarity was so dull. I noticed that after the thunderstorm, in the middle of all this heavy rain, everything lit up in mold, and you'd have to look really close to see that it was on everything. It was on all of my clothes. It was on all of the bed sheets. It was on all of the fruit, all of the food that was left on the counter. And it was so intense. I've never seen anything like that before, because I used to be subjected to mold, but I'd never seen everything lit up in mold. So that's what we did research on, was that these directed energy weapons are activating mold spores on everything because of the heavy metals that they're putting in them, these chemtrails that they're spraying above us. And we would hear them. We would hear all these planes and stuff. So we know that the mold is was external. It was an external problem, and it was because he was subjected to it for 4 years. It now become an internal problem. So now we had to do all the protocols, and so it was the mold and the parasites that we really were focusing on. Was doing all these, taking all these products like the bowel restore and stuff, and yeah, doing everything we could, doing baths because, you know, the Morgellons, because it resulted in the Morgellons disease, and now it starts to affect some of the organs. And he said that his kidney was failing. He had gone to a holistic doctor that said that one of his kidneys was really weak, and so we got rid of a bunch of stones. I got rid of over 30 gallstones, doing the Andrea's. Wow. Yeah, and I'm only 24, and I got rid of all kinds of stones, man. Yeah, I was not gonna do it at first, but then I thought, okay, well, I'll just go ahead with it, and we did the Andreas Moritz liver cleanse, and lo and behold, the next morning after all the, you know, the Epsom salts and the lemon juice, olive oil, I just expelled all kinds of orange stones, and it was incredible. So I know I cured myself, absolutely, and with his help, you know, we came together and we really helped each other, and we also implemented distilled water. Distilled water is something that my uncle Chris, who is an alchemist, he's always saying distilled water is so important. You need it. And so I kept telling Santos, I said, we need to buy a distiller. We need to buy a distiller. We need to buy it, because it's gonna yeah, it's gonna strip everything, and then you add the minerals back into your food, but you use the distilled water to strip everything out, you know, so that it's the universal solvent.
Put some salt in, a little bit of salt afterwards, or something sometimes, yeah, for mineral, rock salt, or Scottish salt, Scottish they have as well, yeah. That's good advice, very good advice. I've done tests, sister, on my YouTube account here, Indy, and I've got a meter somewhere that tests the actual, they won't be able to find it now, but it tests the impurities, the parts per million, and the toxicity of the water. And here in Anglo, you know, England, we have, here we go, it's there, a TDS meter, and it tells you if it has the parts per million, very simple to use, and it has a scale on the back telling you what the quality should be like, chemical level it tests for, so chlorine, estrogen, you know, there's all kinds of tablets left in the water supply, the Severn Trent and other such water companies, Yorkshire Waters, London Waters. The average pint of aqua from a London tap has probably been recycled through the sewerage system, I don't know, 30 times. It's gone through a human body 30 times, and yet our council of governance think it's good for the grunts in the army to be fed that, because that's what we're worth, the general public. So I was quite shocked when I'm a man of substance over form. That's what trust and equity realm encompasses, and that value is man's value. That's why it kicks ass. And this substance over form, when you do get I've got my little pot thing here that the water distills into, it collects through that hole and drips into that one. And we practice this now, and we realize that much like the meats that we're fed, of 1 million chicken in one farm, all eating food and pooing and eating, when the farmers have got all these chickens that sell so cheaply everywhere, when they're feeding and growing, they're fed in the dark, they don't have feathers, and they eat their own poo because they feed them continuously on the same area of warehouse. So over time the poo mixes in with the feed. So to stop the chickens getting ill from eating the poo with the feed, they give them antibiotics within the meat. So much like the water that's treated with the equivalent of antibiotics and bleach and all of that, we know too well that these things that they feed us and water us with are poisons, and they have trace elements left in there. And if you get one of these meters and you test it for yourself, they're quite cheap, about 3 or 5, 10, 15 upwards, you find out, and you're like, so it's not a lie, it's not a conspiracy, and then things start to drop. So when you drink dirty water for 20, 30, 40 years of your life, I know this is grape juice, but if it was water and you're drinking it, then it will collect in your filtration system, And I've seen it with my own eyes. You know, you can get a laser, and when you've distilled your water, if you get a laser pen and you push the laser through, it doesn't hit. You can hardly see the beam because it doesn't hit any particulates. If you get a fresh pint of water out the tap and you get your laser pen, you'll see it. It will hit all them particulates. So there is some elements there that these systems are, you know, it's very scary what you can find. You know, we often believe that we're looked after and it's all for our best interest, but it really isn't. The animals aren't being looked after. The environment's not being looked after. We're not being looked after. And it's a sorry state of affairs. You know, it seems to nobody's responsible for it either. Like, you know, we have an epidemic over here where elderly are dying now, malnutrition, like malnourished, because they're scared of eating salt and they're scared of having their cream scone, you know, scone, whatever, however you say it, and their cake and their cups of tea. So they're now reducing. It might be that there's austerity in the poor and they can't afford it. I hear what you say in YouTube, but nevertheless, it's not funny, but nevertheless, there is a sad situation over here where elderly and relatives are dying, thin and frail and, you know, possibly poor, yeah, but they could eat, but they choose not to because they don't know, you know, they haven't been to the temple and they're all confused, and what they do get is often labeled as lovely and healthy, and, you know, it's great and it's low sugars, but it contains cancer causing substitutes of sugar, like, as you may know, sucrose, fructose, aspartame, I can't even say them, phenylenolane or whatever it is, and they cause cancer. So often it's, you know, it's which ones you go for, because either way the road is bleak, isn't it? You know.
Yeah.
I yield.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. It's incredible.
Yeah. Well, what I was going to say was that, you know, going back to the distilled water, water in alchemy symbolizes cleansing specifically, because fire is energy, earth is stability, air is intellect, and water is nurturing, intuition, and cleansing. So we get a lot of our clarity, a lot of our cleansing through water. So it's really important for us to drink distilled water and then eat the right foods and add back in your minerals in your, you know, when you eat the, you know, all the beautiful plants, you know, it's plants. And of course our soils are also depleted, you know, the richness of the soils is all the chemtrails and everything. And when we're not putting our urine back into the earth as well as our excrement, you know. And if we were to do that as well, it would really help bring back the richness of the soil as well, because now we're, you know, using the bathroom in the toilet, and it goes down and everything. It's not going back into the earth, it's going in a sewer, you know. And so so it's really important that we take care of our elements, you know, and our bodies. For me, I have a stellium in the sign of Pisces in my astrology, so I'm very water. So I have to make sure that my waters are cleansed, because they could get, you know, murky really easily. And everybody else, but some people have stronger elements, you know. And Santos and I both have a lot of planets in Pisces, and Pisces is known to be susceptible to illness because they're the feet. They're super absorbent. They're the most receptive sign of the zodiac, because you know, they have all of the archetypes before them, so they've been there and they've done that, you know. So their constitution, you know, tends to be a bit weaker if you have a lot of planets there. So I have to take care of my water supply. I have to make sure I'm adding back in my minerals, because the earth element in my chart is very weak, as well as the fire. So I'm very cold and moist. So I have to make sure that I supplement that with the right elements. So I've been doing that, and we've done that. We've done that together for him, you know.
You've turned up. You seem like an angel that's come to an aid. Then you've come at the right time with the, you know, different train of thought, different ideas, and I can connect our renaissance at hand now directly with what you've said there. I would argue that law, LAW, you know, Lima Alpha Whiskey, is land, air, and water. We'll go to the scriptures. I'm not quoting, for wanting, to say that this is a great faith, but the scriptures say in the good book from the Creator that when he created Adam, Atama, mud, earth, from the earth, Lord created Adam from the earth, from the realm. So man from the earth, land, air is obviously, we've got the air and the freedom of it and what's around it and the luxury of breathing it and its qualities, what it contains, possibly 0 point energy, but that's another hangout. And water, you've just said it, the world, us, our realm, without water, there's no life, there's no essence, there's no nothing. We need light, heat and water. You just said cold and wet. There's 2 elements that you need, to live to some extent. If it was too hot, you need the right temperature, you need to be moist, you need the heat source, you need the water, you need the elements, the food to grow. And whilst we're here, Santos said something before. I made some little notes about what he said about the fear of the judicial realm. And when we go there, let me tell you, everybody, it isn't something that is not big and clever. It's not friendly. It's not honourable. They dress in black. And as he said, sometimes he mentioned that he did something and maybe mixed jurisdictions, I think he was pointing to there. And we've played an integral part by finding out about the mixed jurisdictions, Brother Santos. So don't feel any weight about going down and trying to stop the access to the trust and the estate under the mercantile ecclesiastical rule there, assumptions and presumptions and deception. You went there and you went to give them a run for their money, in my eyes, like most of us have done in the past, some successfully, some without. And you've made it hard for them to take that money and to make that claim. So whether you win or you lose, if you go down there, it is some kind of something to be said there for the honourability and trying to correct. Often we don't go down angry, we go down confused and believing it's a place of justice and that we will get honourability, and there'll be a man there that will listen to what we say and he'll be like, oh yes, I see what's happened, no problem. But no, there's no heart, there's no emotion, no mind, no meeting of. It's a place of pure business. And the integral part of us, which is why I sent you them documents, our strength and our movement in this law renaissance we're having, it is that we found a document that was part of what's called a 3-letter conditional acceptance process. Now, in law, when a controversy is raised, it's best to conditionally accept it. It's the only way to deal with it, because if you accept it, you might not have needed to, and you've done it in error. If you argue it, you may cause damages and incur fees and fines and forfeits and so forth, willfully withholding, and if you conditionally accept it, then you've said, yes, I'll take it, but I want to look at it first, which keeps you in honour. So when we looked at this document, and it was for debt and public liability and capital names and all in the public, it wasn't anything private. It was about a corporation wanting money, assigning liability for public afforded debt under a warrant of execution to order taking control of goods. And we looked at it and we went, okay, what we're doing here? And it says at the top, notice to principal is notice to agent, and notice to agent is notice to principal. And as I said, this Facebook Realm Trust is 3 years old on the 15th of November. We just celebrated that from November 15, that is. And then the .com was the 3rd of December 17 when I created that and first, bought it and opened it up. So in 4 years, 3 years, 3.5, we found this mixed jurisdiction, and I didn't know what it meant in November 15, early 16. I was like, who's a principal, who's an agent, what's a notice about, and the doctrine of. And we found that later down in that document, it said that we conditionally accept the claims and the charges. You mentioned charges earlier as well, not crimes, but charges. Charges is that side, the hocus pocus, abracadabra, Abraham, Sarah, Celebraham, Sarah, Abraham, Celebrum, abracadabra, Abraham. Anyway, another little tangent for you there. You mentioned that kind of stuff. So we've worked out that the mixed jurisdictions is the key. If you submit a document You go into any kind of realm or office and you've got a document, we'll go Romilly Stewart, big love to that man as well for his glossa, dogma, ancient Latin, quasi trust what he brought out, and your earlier works with our indigos of now have put together these crazy things because it was all fragmented and we think on purposely mixed for us. We was directed to Magna Carta. We was directed to Free Man on the Land. We was directed to violent, outlandish, repetitive ways of which have failed in the past, and we're expected to pick them up and carry them on when good men across all of the plane have taken up swords and had epic battles of which you can quote quite profoundly and knowledgeable of, and I'm aware to some extent, and the lineages and the empires and everything that's happened, and the Jesuits and the Cardinals. It's a big old game that we found here, and I'm happy to say that there's not many legal areas now of which we can't interface and get into, and we've lost the fear because of you and the Gova guys and your works and what we found out, and the sovereign part is because it comes into biblical bondage. And when you look at the scriptures and the King James Bible and the Vedic and the Talmud and the Torah and all of the religions, you soon find a thing called faith. And when you find that faith, you lose that fear. And when you find that faith and that faith is genuine, you connect with something. You go back to the direct source. And when you're back to the direct source, we've downloaded. And what we've downloaded is the old way. And the old way is like your lady's just said there. She's just said the Lady Violet. I nearly said Victoria because I'm thinking monarchy. Wow. Lady Violet said about the organic, natural, wholesome way of which we should be functioning, eating, living, dietary requirements. And we're all made up of different, genes and mentalities and characters. We're born a blank unit. What we become when we become adulterers, that word adult, adulteration, adulterers, back to the linkage of family of etymology, is not what we are. And we've been tricked, and we need to relearn, and we are different. Some are strong, some are weak, some are shy, some are cold and wet, some are hot and dry. That's me. I'm hot and dry. This is the way life is, and we need to meet up, we balance, we focus. Chemtrails don't affect. I'm looking at the chat room with some of the comments as well, like with what's being said. There's a lot of love in the house here. There is 56, 60 watching now. So that's good, for this time on a Saturday to say they're not out drinking, sniffing cocaine, having sex with prostitutes, these kind of things that the TV and Hollywood want to make us go, and do and program us for. It's a big old game. It really is. And we need to take a moment and just appreciate that everybody is on their own personal journey in this realm, and everybody has their own interpretation, and everybody has their own issues and their own remedies. But we found remedies that are applicable to man, and we have highlighted, some of the fear and the love. That's the key. Love is the key. Caring, time, compassion, consideration, sacrifice, going into the dark place. You do learn a little bit in a dark place, to be fair. Can be healthy for you, but this lady here then has come at the right time with some good information, and I am extensively knowledgeable about chemtrails. For any subscribers or middle class, we have over here the middle class, and they think they know everything and are well informed with the rags that they read, but they're just as much manipulated, and they're only really one paycheck away from living as a poor person if the economy crashes, middle class. Maybe 2 paychecks then, and then you're back down on the poverty level with the working class. So foreclosures, asset management, things coming in, big Barry. So, we've got these ideas of how things and technology and infrastructure should be, but the monetary mechanics, the legal system, and the fact we are in an army, as you said earlier at the beginning, a military status, a hospital being a ward of the state, and the military need a way of controlling the army, as Brother Romilly said in his video. And this is why we have creditors and debtors and a civil system and deception and these tools, the Justinian deception. And when they want to control us, they will control us, as we've seen foreign war policy, the crashing of the UK economy on more than one occasion. And it's been provable, not just Northern Rock, but it happened before. We had to pay a price for that because we crashed it on purpose. The elite, the banking cartel that we've pointed out, you've helped point out. You know, the families, the Medici, never heard of them before, thought it was a proper Italian. Medici family, who are they, Santos? Eh? And I was like, I need to go and have a look. So it's truly remarkable, and it's a vast area, you know, and we pay homage on this day to all of the information that either of you two can bring to us or help to reiterate, or if I've said something that's made you want to speak, I'm going to yield now and let you re-interject, guys, because yeah, we're very grateful for what you're doing, what you're saying, and there is a big, you know, area to be covered. Astrotheology. I've got a question, Santos. I've always wanted to ask you. Why did you get into astrotheology, brother?
Oh, okay. Well, I was into it since I was a little boy as a Jehovah's Witness. The moment I became a teenager, I left the Jehovah's Witnesses for all my teen years. So I was just a ordinary worldly boy, as they would call them. Then at 19, I decided that I wanted to serve God. You know, I wanted to do the right thing. And I, of course, gravitated to the Jehovah's Witnesses because my parents raised me a Jehovah's Witness. I was baptized Catholic. But then in my early years, my parents became witnesses. So from 19 to about early 40s, I was a Jehovah's Witness, and I was studying astrotheology. Now, I was reading, for instance, the two Babylons. Now, in there, you actually have all the syncretism and astrotheology you would ever need. Here is Alexander Hislop, a reverend of the Church of England, I think, writing a book in 1913. And I was studying that at the age of 21. So that's where I cut my teeth, the two Babylons. And ever since then, I've always been I loved theology. I love theology. And astrology as well. I got started getting into astrology at stages. In the 80s, there was a stage. In the 90s, there was a stage. So all of these things interest me, all these metaphysical, transcendental themes. And I was always reading books. Books have always been an integral part of my existence. It's me and my books. And I've never read novels. I don't read novels. I don't waste my time. I'm not into reading fiction and hocus pocus. I read solid reference books, you know, manuals. And
we've noticed you've referenced quite a lot in your talks, and they just flow off the tongue as well. But yes, thank you for that. Yeah, you have. We've noticed.
Oh yeah, I don't know what I would be without the books, you know, because I have a good intuition, but you can't just go on intuition alone. You need the left brain activity. You need to do the reading. You know, you've got to do that side as well. You balance it, and that's how you come to syncretism. You know, it's nothing special. It's not a special gift. It's just you pay attention. I paid attention. Little things just stuck with me, and I would add it to the whole tapestry, you know, expressions, sayings. I used to love talking when I was knocking on people's doors zealously 90 hours a month as a regular pioneer. I would talk to Jews, I would talk to Muslims, Hindus, and I learned so much, you know. I was learning about Brahma and Kabbalah while I was going. But it all came together in 2007, right? So this is like 10, 11 years ago when I really woke up in full. And I realized that things I had witnessed prior, what they really were all about, like 9/11. I was in Las Vegas playing a gig for Bill Gates 2 months to the day of 9/11. So November the 11th, 11/11, I was playing the 45-minute set with my duo buddy Daryl Wood. We did the opening music for his keynote address at in Las Vegas, and I shook his hand after the gig and had a chat and stuff like that. And little did I know, while I was in Las Vegas playing for a week, a Greek guy came to the Comdex expo, and he whispered in my ear, Santos, he said, he was Canadian of Greek origin, and he whispered in my ear, sort of quite nervously, he said, Santos, do you realize it's the government that did 9/11 2 months ago? And I remember saying to him, yeah, I wouldn't surprise me. But it took till 2007 for me to really wake up to 9/11. Then, and I was reading a book about the Rothschilds. Someone mentioned them, and they said you should get a book. There was another one by Tex Mars, or the other Mars guy, conspiracies, and so the Rothschilds were mentioned, and that was it. That started me on the path, and that's where I am today because I read that book by an Englishman. I think his name. What's the name of that book about the Rothschilds? Anyway, it's not important. The important thing is that was the year when I started losing weight, became a vegetarian, woke right up to the whole everything, even though I was partially awakened for decades. And then I started getting really targeted with the itching, you know. And so all of these things sort of came together. And then I started posting videos in 2011, January 2011, my first astrotheology video. Because when I paid attention for decades since 1981, and even prior to that, when I was a little boy, we used to go to the book study, and we used to study a book called Babylon the Great Has Fallen, the little red book. And in there, it's all these gruesome images of Babylon and how, beasts of Babylon and the whole history of it. And so I've been waiting for Babylon to fall since I was a little boy, preaching about Armageddon and it, the end world, and that subject is called eschatology. So you could say I've been an eschatologist all my life, waiting for the end of the cycle, preaching it, knocking on people's doors. Even I would go out of my way to spend days knocking on strangers' doors to tell them about Jehovah's kingdom that's coming. So my zeal has never cooled down. It's always hot, and I've always wanted to just save people, teach people. But I was doing it the wrong way, obviously, as a Jehovah's Witness, because that's a Rockefeller-owned corporation with the Russell Trust, and it's all about mind control. And to teach people about Zionism, Jehovah's Witnesses are the greatest supporters of the Rothschilds and Zionism. Yeah. Charles Taze Russell used to write quite regularly to Lord Rothschild about creating Israel, and so you've got these dumbed down people who are collecting Rothschild money in their contribution boxes and paying their taxes real good, and very submissive to the government. So I broke out of that, brother, in 2007. But you know what? The system woke up to me, and I don't know how they got to me, but they really did, man. And my health has deteriorated since then, but I'm getting mine back because I'm getting healthier. I'm putting more goodness and nutrition into my body now. It's more absorbable because of the cleanses I've done. So I can feel that. My skin is more supple. It is more hydrated. I've got more clarity of mind. I'm winning, okay? But I really, I've taken a year off. You know, this hangout here, this is what I call a proper interview. I've only done about 4 of them, David.
I know.
And you know that I had to cancel a month ago, the first one. And you were waiting for months and months and months so patiently. And I even cancelled, broke my heart. And to do that, but I had to. And
I know, we respect that. We respect that. That's why we wait. Yeah, thank you. And you're no good if you're sick and ill. You need to get better. Your first duty is to yourself and your family, isn't it? So.
Well, I'm just going to sound like gibberish, like I am. I'm feeling like I'm on the fringe of sounding gibberish today, because that's how I go. I go incoherent when I don't sleep. I'm no good. And so how convenient that this mold thing, these pathogens that have been attacking me, caused me to have sleep deprivation for 10 years, torture, because that's going to stop me from being eloquent and speaking nicely and kindly to people. And it's going to, try, put it this way, I've only released 5% of what I'm wanting to release.
What?
Now with Violet, oh yeah, I've got so many presentations I haven't released. I'm going to start, now that I've got Violet, she knows how to edit and all of this stuff. We've been making some videos now. You'll notice 4 or 5 new ones with Violet. And so I'm going to now release my 500-page PowerPoint presentation, All is Atom, which I've been saying I would since 2014. Now it's got 500 full of All is Atom information, proving that everything, every word, every thought in existence comes from Atom. Everything that happens is atomic, including your anatomy and your etymology. All words, everything comes from Atom. And Atom is the torus field, and that's why everything, a lot of English words end in actor, creator, originator, because it's all torus fields. Our language, the original language of humanity, is atomic. It's the atomic language. It's the language of all is Atom. That's why the Egyptians taught that. And all the world taught this. In India, they said all is Om. They eliminated the atom because it was, you didn't have to say the full word. It was such a known word, the Atman in India, the Atman or the Atma, it's Atom. And so they reduced that to all is Om. And so when you understand this and this PowerPoint presentation, if anyone watches it, whether they are scholarly or not, I will make it, not go over their heads. I don't go very technical. I like to keep things simple and explain things in layman's terms, because that's what I am. I'm just a researcher. So after watching that, I don't think you will want to embarrass yourself by trying to criticize it or debunk it or argue against it. There will be put it this way, Gerald Massey and Godfrey Higgins and Alvin Boyd Kuhn and all the greats that I've read, they will be clapping from their heavenly places at the release of All is Atom. They will be rejoicing.
Yes. Was there not on the video, the latest video that you did, it had the cymatics for the voice, which is the spell, yeah? We cast spells, and that was fantastic. I want one of them myself to just practice, like on where you have you go up the solfeggio scale and the salt on the vibrating vibrating platform with the waveform underneath it being modulated to the solfeggio scale makes the cymatic patterns relating to love frequencies, healing frequencies. So you have it there, don't you? Where the Phoenicians, you said it, to quote the great Santos, when you go to court today, it's all about the Phoenicians, phonetics. We are all Phoenicians and into this phonetic realm, and it goes deeper to the spirit realm and above to the celestial, Saturn, Satan, Jesus. The connection with the stars is even more prolific. The stars are suns, and the phonics. The Aborigines, do they not believe that the realm was sung in creation, into creation? Do they not? The Aborigines, is that right?
That's correct, brother. Like the angels in the book of Job, they are sonoluminescent beings. So when you reference those cymatics, or others call it skymatics, experiments with the sand, you can see the sacred shapes. The heavens are intelligent. Everything's conscious. We are not the only conscious beings. Everything's conscious. Therefore, sound is the word. The word is the logos. So when the word was made flesh, it's not talking about one man coming here in Roman days, a la Roman historical Jesus. It's talking about cymatics and the process in which God the Father, which is Almighty God, produces God the demiurge, which is the creator of torus fields, hence matter. And that would be what you would call the Son of God. He who has seen me has seen the Father. Because what is created in the material world is projected from the spiritual world. They are one and the same. One is like the shadow cast, you see. So the people who work for the crown, Kronos, Satan, they are working for the demiurge. The demiurge is red and blue, red shift, blue shift.
Yeah.
The demiurge is Satan and Jesus. It's Lucifer and Christ. Or I wouldn't say Christ, because Christ is always in reference to the original source creator, light. Okay, but I would say Jesus, because that is in reference to the stepped down God, the creator, Jehovah, Jesus. These are all the same thing. And that's the demiurge, the God of red and blue, not black and white. The yin and yang that is black and white is superior and above and causal to the red and blue yin and yang of the South Korean flag, for instance, the red and blue. So red and blue shift, that is red blood, blue blood. That's about the world of blood. Adam means red blood. Adama in Hebrew means red earth. So the Adama, the Adam, the atum, is red shift, blue shift. You see, Republicans are red and Democrats are blue. None of them, either of them gives a shit about you. Roses are red.
Yes.
Violets are blue.
Brilliant. Sad but true. Well done. Someone coining that.
Red pill, blue pill. The list goes on and on and on and on. So what's going on there is the Crown and all these people, the police officers, they're just doing their job. Nothing personal. They are serving God. But you have to understand which God. There are many systems of God. There's many systems of God. But it's still all God. As it says in Bhagavad Gita, yes, you may worship Shiva, my expansion, or Brahma, my expansion, or Vishnu, my expansion, or Rama, or any one of my expansions. But all adoration ultimately comes back to me. Because we are Krishna. See, we are God inconceivably, one with God, yet with difference. That's who you are. So when you go into court and you say, I am, I this, I, you are not representing all of your divinity, because you are plural. You should be saying we, and our. This is our case, not my. Nothing is mine and I. It is ours, because we are an integrated being. If you turn up in court with I, they'll say, well, this guy's body's ours now. Let's put it in the in detention, because you didn't go in as we with all your parts. What about your soul? Are you speaking for your soul? Are you speaking for your source, which is what's called spirit? Spirit is in the word breath, by the way. To inspire, spire, that's the spiral of the torus field.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so when you inspire, so if you don't represent your, well, I wouldn't say represent, present your spirit as an integrated we being when you go to court, well, then you're going to get lost at sea, you see.
The mind, body, and soul. You contain what for the, I would interject interpret is you contain the essence of the creator, so you cannot be incompetent, and you come as a tribunal, perhaps, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, well, I learnt this from what's his name down in New Zealand. I hate to be calling him what's his name.
Bill, New Zealand, Bill Turner. No?
Bill Turner. Yeah, sorry, Bill.
All right,
yeah,
I do that. It happens. Don't worry, we all do it. Tired.
He goes into this, and I agree. We should be referencing our being as we, because then we are rejecting the creator. If we don't include him, because remember, Jesus says, do not be rehearsing what you are to say when you are going to court, for the Holy Spirit will be with you, and the Holy Spirit will give you what to say. So if you go in there as I, well, then the Holy Spirit's not with you. I'm not being pedantic about this. I'm not saying you can't go in there and say I. You can just go and say, I would state for the record that when I use the expression which we're all familiar with, which is the personal pronoun I and the possessive pronoun my, I am using these, and in all times they will mean we and our. Okay, so you could do that. You could always do your disclaimers and your conditional acceptances and what have you, and put conditions on your speech, and that you are the creator of your speech rather than them assuming what the word means. So I love the word understand. I'm not scared of that word. I don't have to say inner stand and overstand and inside out stand and upside down stand. I just say understand. Because I don't go around speaking legalese. I go around speaking English, Anglish, Angelish. English is a pure language. It's pure. We don't have to get confused. Oh, you should say understand because that means you're under his submission. No. When you're in court, that's what it means. But when I'm talking to you, it doesn't mean that. So don't give me this inner stand, overstand, upside down stand, please.
Yeah. we don't contract. Yes, we don't contract that. We don't. We know about the Crown and Convocation, Attorney Regis, the language, the deception, legalese. Everybody that's not proficient, it looks like English, it sounds like English, it writes like English, but it isn't English, and it has legal attachments to words that you would imagine mean one thing but mean the total opposite. So it's deception at its highest. And when you stand there as in your private capacity as a settlor, then with words that end OR, mortgage or mortgage E, trust E, mortgage E has got the double E on, trust E's got the E on the end, mortgage or, creditor, settlor, creator. This is it. This is the key in the phonics in the language, and the status, standing, capacity, and not being aggravating, not going. We used to go in, brother, going, I am not the surety for this debt, when in fact you quite actually might be. I do not have an international treaty. I demand to see your oath. And we was going in damaging the judicial, the robe, the banker. We was all mixed up. We wasn't keeping clean hands. We wasn't in honor, and we didn't know we was speaking legalese, or to some extent we was mixing it up. So it's integral. All of that is integral for how you see yourself. But it is divinity. We've got a brother that's in the family called Andy Sovereign Smith, and he has his book reference King James Bible for coded. We don't preach Christianity or Catholicism. What we do is we research the research from before, and we integrate our little spin on it, as you have done in the past, and as we've talked about privately. So it's integral that man understands that stocks and bonds. Are you thinking of the stock market, Bond Street, infrastructure, commerce? Well, stocks are what used to have the village idiot in, and the bonds are what they bonded with and taken away with. We've got to a point now where we recognise and we see in 1666, 300 and something years ago, 350, 351, something like that. It's a long time ago. For this game's been rigged, in this way for too long. So we have a great homage to pay for this etymological findings, and the Jesuits, the Cardinals, the Phoenicians, the lineage in itself. There is 74 watching, I'd like to say, and just out of honour to my subscribers, and because it's kind of laid back, I'd like to go through some of the comments, if I may, brother, sister, and let you know what they're saying, give you some of the wishes. And I'm not trying to get rid of you. I'll have you all night, but I'm aware of the time, and there is a lot watching. So may I just go through? Can you see the chat room by any chance, either of you?
No, I don't normally look at chat rooms because I like to just concentrate. Otherwise, I get a bit scattered and distracted. So where is it? How do I find it?
It's on the Indiglo channel. It's on my channel. I can send you the link. No. Yeah, I've sent it in the. You got it, yeah. I'm just gonna.
Oh yeah, I won't be able to, brother. It's too complicated.
All right, yeah, don't worry. I'm just gonna oblige you then. I'm obliged. You see, in law, we are obliged, and I'm obliged. I have so many duties and responsibilities in this realm and mission, and I'd just like to say hello to all of the regular subscribers and viewers. There's normally about 30 when man goes live, so 76. You two have definitely pulled in some figures there, and I'm just going to go and see if there's any advice or comments there. Fictions and stuff. It's about this fluoride blocks calcium uptake on bone fixation, cause brittle bones, etc. from magnetic conscious. So they're saying about the water and the fluoride and everything, that dietary intake helps. It doesn't help our health then, yeah. Some of it. Minerals are essential. Minerals not of plant or not organic. Yes, we need these plants, and like I didn't think of it like you said, that they're assimilated. But you're killing the plants and you're committing murder. But no, they're part of again in the guidance from the Creator. Go forth and fulfill the planet. What was it now? Replicate on the planet, populate the planet. I can't remember I'm tired myself. But the plants and the animals are there for the environmental status, and plants are for medicine and food, ultimately. So if we turn away from them, it's no wonder we might get sick.
Yeah, look, the fact that you can mow the lawn and it keeps growing back shows that you don't kill plants. You don't kill them. Animals can be killed, and it's called murder because it's an excessive food. It's not necessary. It's proven that people can live vegetarian and they live way healthier and longer. It's provable, and so it's not necessary. And this is why the Bible condemns it. It says clearly that gluttons will not inherit God's kingdom, and it is gluttonous to steal life to sustain your own life. You don't do that with plants. The plant continues to live. And so, but interesting point, brother, if you don't mind me interjecting, going back to English and people who criticize English. I've seen so many videos, and I've proven the contrary, that English is the greatest language there ever was, and it's the language of angels. And that's how I opened my 2013 tour of the UK back in 2013 in St. Anne's. I said that sentence. I said, "You guys are the luckiest." I've done syncretism in a few languages, but there's nothing like English. And for instance, the word mortgage, people say, "Oh, it's a trap. It's casts spells on you, etc." Well, I would say it does the reverse. I mean, how clear is it what a mortgage is? A death pledge. English is kind enough to tell you what it's doing to you, and the judges are putting it in the words that they're doing to you. They're giving you a death pledge, and you're signing away. And they're saying, "Listen, you freaking idiot, I'm telling you what I'm giving you, a plague. And you want it? Yes, please, please, thank you. It's there. It's a mortgage." See, English is freeing us. You see, what we should be saying is a register of English, which is called legalese, is a spell binding language or register. It's not a language. It's been made a language because it's in the common parlance now. People are using it, But it's like saying, "Oh, knives are evil because that killer over there just stabbed an old woman with it, so knives are evil." No, it's the misuse of knives. So it's the misuse of English that casts spells, and it's the ignorance of people and how ugly they present English and the awful way in which they speak and don't take care to be, eloquent and have a good vocabulary, etc. And they're sloppy. Well, that's not good, you see. So why would you attack a language? And this is the same with people who say, "Oh, astrology, it's a pseudoscience and blah blah blah." Well, and it's been debunked. Well, I say, how do you debunk a language? Music's a language. Are you going to debunk music? Astrology is music in words, right? It's like the lyrics of a song. It's a language. You cannot debunk it. Can you debunk Japanese? "Oh, I don't understand it, and it looks silly." That's not writing. I can't understand it. It's a pseudo language. There you go. And this is how stupid people are.
Jupiter. What's that all about? Jupiter. I couldn't believe it when I heard these words. I'm like, no way. How could I have missed that? Jupiter. He was on about the planets and celestial, the procession of the zodiacs and the relationship. Christ-like consciousness and so forth.
And who was Peter? Well, he was the apostle to the Jews. And who was Paul? Well, he was the apostle to the Gentiles. So there's always this Peter-Paul duality going on. Well, it's Jupiter, and Paul is Apollo, Saturn. It's the greater benefic and the greater malefic. Jupiter, Zeus, is Jesus, and Saturn is Satan. So this is where everything comes from. Unless you know astrology, and you don't know anything. Job 38:32. Do you know the Mazzaroth? Do you know it? Well, you see, unless you know that, you can't know all things. It is the measure of all things. And you can't go to your pastor. See, the Christians are doing us a favor, They've actually preserved all of the astrotheology 100% intact on steroids, and they're denying it, And they go to pastors. Well, what are you going to go to the teacher who's going to teach you about the stars, are you? The minister, the moon stars. They're going to read the gospel. Well, that's an astrological word, you know, the goat spell. That comes from the goat Capricorn, which you see Jesus has to be a Capricorn, doesn't he? Born on the 25th of December. So, yep, he's a Capricorn, so he's a little goat, right? And you see, this is why the goat spell, he's the preacher of the goat spell. He's a carpenter. Well, what's the motto of Capricorn? I'm a carpenter. I'm a mason. I build. I use. I fabricate. The crafty little Capricorns, you know, practical pigs, building things. How many builders are Capricorn? Go down to a building site and ask them their star signs. Every second one will be a Capricorn. They're building shit everywhere. Yep. And so you see where we get the gospel, Elohim.
Oh, yeah. Yes, we do a little bit.
Yes, and so they're masters at preserving astrotheology and masters at denying it. Hence, Matthew 7, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name? Did we not expel demons in your name? Did we not perform great miracles and wonders in your name? And yet, in that day, I will say to them, get away from me, you workers of lawlessness. I never knew you. So who are the ones that won't be saved? Well, who will be denied by Jesus? Well, it's the ones who are calling out, Lord, Lord. You know, but they do not follow his words. So Jesus said, no. He stopped someone in their tracks. He says, no, happy is the man who hears my words and does them. It's no use arguing about a historical Jesus. How can it help you if and even Jesus were historical? How does that benefit your life? There's no benefit in a historical Jesus. No. There is only benefit in the Jesus within of St. Paul in Colossians 1:26, where he says, the Christ in you, which is eternal.
Yes.
We're bickering and arguing about who killed who. No, about, sorry, Monty Python. We're bickering and arguing about, you know, Jesus and did he have blue eyes and was he black? You know, there's a black Jesus somewhere. I've seen it, and I've seen the red-haired Jesus. And was he a Jew? Was he a Galilean? Was he an Israelite? Was he a son of David? You don't have to argue. It's all archetypical, symbolic history. It never happened in any historical timeline. And yet it's repeatable in timelines because it describes all cycles. It's form history. It's not literal history.
Jesus was an event, like, an event rather than a. Yeah, if it was just in a story value alone, it would be rendered useless. Whereas even the painting of the Last Supper, then it's heralded for two main things there. One, the depiction of the zodiac in there, which was a surprise to me until actually I did some research on it, and it's also because of the backdrop with the 3D perspective of the roof going back. It's the world's first 3D picture portrait by a hand of man, and also do you believe it portrays the zodiac with the hands and the positioning of the disciples and Jesus? Does it not, brother?
Exactly. So what you've got in hermeneutics, it's called form history. All scripture is form history. Okay, it's archetypal, symbolical history. And what is interesting word, that one, since we're talking about how Christians preserve astrotheology, Christians will tell you that the exegesis or the interpretation of all scripture, especially the Bible, is called, here it comes, hermeneutics. So what is Hermes doing in the word in which you use to define the science which you apply to scripture to interpret it? Wouldn't you call it Moses Neutics? Well, guess what? When Marsilio Ficino translated the Corpus Hermeticum from Egypt, the Arabics brought it to him in the Renaissance. He declared, Moses is none other than Hermes. I'm translating Hermes and I'm finding Moses all over it.
No way. Hermes.
Oh, yeah, way.
Oh.
Yes, way.
Hermes. So, for those that don't know, Hermes is known as quite a few names. Thoth, Thoth, is it Buddha, Hermes Trismegistus, Greek and Egyptian.
Vishnu,
Go on. Yeah.
Vishnu, Nebo, Nebuchadnezzar, Nebo, Thoth, yes, Woden, Wednesday, Buddha, Mercury. It's all Vishnu. It's all the same thing. And Hermes. But the point I want to make is they will every second word from their lips is, oh, hermeneutics. You got to have the right hermeneutics.
Yeah.
Well, yes, thank you. I am a Hermetist and a Neoplatonist, so I'm all good with Hermes. Thank you very much, Christians. Go back to your pastor and learn your Mazzaroth, will you? Because God ridiculed Job for not knowing the zodiac, because that's what Mazzaroth is in Job 38:32. I love dropping that scripture on Christians. I love it. I love it. They've always got something to say. Oh, but astrology is a pseudoscience and from the devil. No,
Wow.
it's all over the Bible. Jesus and his disciples and his apostles. Why is the silent T in the word apostles?
Disciples, yeah, very key. Disciples, yes, I like that one. Kudos.
How about this one? Jesus on the circuit of Galilee. Well, you know, Galilee means circuit. It's the wheel. In Strong's Concordance, it says it's the wheel of the zodiac of the Greeks.
Wow.
And here's the greatest historian of the Jews, Josephus, Flavius. I wonder what that word's doing in there. Flavius Josephus. So what did he say? He said that in his Jewish histories that the 12 loaves of bread in the Temple of Solomon, the 12 stones on the ephod of the high priest, the 12 temples in the pillars in the temple, etc. The 12 brazen calves in the wash. They call it the Holy Sea, where they wash their hands. There were 12 Taurus bulls made of bronze, holding that big ocean where they would wash their hands. And he said in his histories that this was none other than the zodiac of the Greeks. Even Philo said this. Philo, the greatest Jewish syncretist who ever lived, from Alexandria, where syncretism was flourishing in the Hellenic period before the Romans and Justinian destroyed by edict in 527, the creator of the dog Latin and the creator of the straw man and his wife, who removed reincarnation motifs from the scriptures, from the Bible, purged them, and they shut down the Neoplatonic academies in the year 527. And from that moment forth, they taught Aristotle. Plato down, the spiritualist, the mystic, and then the materialist scientist, his student, Aristotle, inferior by, I can't imagine how inferior Aristotle is. And the black nobility of Venice and the Roman elite, they pump Aristotle in their universities since the Renaissance as a fight back to Neoplatonism, coming back with guys like Pico and Ficino and Bruno and all of these guys extolling humanity and Christendom to go back to Hermes and Plato and Pythagoras and get learned up, because they are our schools. Hence, we have the Old Testament is Hermetic from Egypt, and the New Testament is Platonic. Hence, the Christian Greek scriptures. And thank you, Christians, for leaving that word Greek in there. That's very crucial, because now we understand that it is Greek philosophy / theology in the Bible, and Egyptian in the Old Testament. And the Christians will be falling off their chairs right now, and they'll be just, oh, they'll be turning black and blue, but that is the truth. You know, it's provable.
Well done. Yeah, it's great of you to say, eloquently put. That's what I mean. See, it just rolls out there. You've got a certain ability and a style when it comes to the historical conceptualization of the, you know, movement of, I don't know, the religions and controlling factions and the suppression of, well, you've said quite a lot there, but I'll encapsulate with the Hermetic principles and Hermes Trismegistus, the thrice born man. There was a man called, we'll call him, he's got a lot of names, but we'll say Thoth and Thoth. He ruled Kem, which is Khem. I'm actually outside having a cigarette. Look, it does actually come out from the heart sometimes, from the mind. But he ruled Kem, did he not? Nubian Empire before Egypt, and 37,000 years old. And he had a green emerald tablets that have recently surfaced. Then we'll just roughly cover this, that are very, very key and crucial. They contain the Hermetic principles of life, of governance, of law, of sovereignty, of the law of attraction, of the power of intent. Santos said something earlier, way earlier at the beginning, about inwardly and outwardly. Is echoing the words of others along the timeline, of myself and Sovereign Smith, of our trust and our self-governing sovereigns here. That there is a, if every time someone broke common law, there was a little bee sting on the back of your neck, right? You'd soon stop breaking common law. I know common law is public, but, harm, injury and loss, it's coming into, where my rights end, where yours begin. So if everyone got a reminder that when your rights are ending now, someone else is a beginning, and you just encroached on them, whether it be man himself or someone in a public office or whatever, you'd soon start to learn and, move the error of your ways. But as it happens, we have this principality in effect, this causation, the effect, the principle of cause and effect, for instance, in these principles, and they explain, the laws of life, and these have been hidden from us. And as we've said before, when man goes to talk to Creator, or to download and to connect with the source, if you are begging and you are sorry for yourself and you are crying and upset, which is natural, when you're asking for help, but you need to position yourself in a position of strength and a higher vibratory realm. And this is the principality which you're touching upon there, that allows you to do that through simple knowledge. That the religion, or at one point I'd argue that the Knights Templar may have been honourable and a good bunch of men and so forth, but they got slaughtered and infected with a disease, a mold, if you like, growing on the good part of the fabric, and it slowly took over and encapsulated all of the fabric that we're seeing with quite a lot of the areas of history. There was an inception, an insurgence. And you put it well there. It's a key integral part of. We're like a species with amnesia, I often compare us to. And when we hear these kind of chats and things, and it does send people on a journey. You wake a lot of folks up in a great many ways. It's something for everybody in this chat. And someone's asked, Santos, if you don't mind me putting it in there, because I'll forget. I'll put your links in for everywhere off your YouTube channel, but they're asking about chart readings and so forth. Where would they go, or is there a contact you can give out on this video to get in touch with you, or is there a place they can go to ask you about astro-theological chart, zodiac readings? I want one myself, actually. I've even found out my weight, the date I was, but the time on the exact date and everything, when my certificate is there. But I asked my mum certain other bits to get a reading myself. But if you want to just put some plugs in for if any of the subscribers, there's about 80 now watching, they're asking if I could ask you that, please.
Yeah, for sure. You can go to my website to book one with me, and you can go to Violet's website as well to book one with her. Now, Violet's more thorough when it comes to medicals and things like that. She's way more advanced than me in alchemy, in astrology, and crystals, and and herbs. Okay, so that's her specialty, and she also tailor makes wands with all the correct crystals according to the weaknesses in the chart for the mental, emotional, and physical health. So she's got 4 specialities that I don't do. I do medicals, the basics with cell salt remedies and other remedies, including crystals as well, but I'm not as advanced as Violet. I really, really recommend, if you want that, go to Violet's, because she's exceptionally talented and does a lot of thorough research. So you're getting a lot more information condensed into the recording. She can even just record it and send you the recording of your chart with all the copies of the chart and the audio as well. Or she can do it. We both do them on Skype, and I share the screen. I always share the screen. You hit the record button, I share the screen, and so what you've got there is it'll be archived forever. And what I do is I do your medicals and everything. I do your transits, progressions, solar returns, all that sort of stuff, general stuff. We can look at transits in the future. I like to go back, if you've got dates of when you've had major things happen in your life, bring them along. We go back and have a look, and we can see how the stars were telling the story at the time. This generally fascinates people. I always find the reason for an event when I go back in transits. And when I go forward, and when I go forward in transits, I can, people come to me with problems of they're in a rut. It may be financial, at work, in their relationship. It might be health. And you can look forward as well to see, plan for downtimes. I've often been able to tell people, watch out for, this period coming up. And they have, and they've thwarted many calamities, because it's all there. It's all there in the chart. It's what you're looking at when you're looking at a birth chart is the skies as represented as a torus field, and all the planets going around that torus field, and how when you were born, it's a snapshot of that split second in time and the positions of those planets. And what you will inherit from that is all your constitution, how you are constituted electrodynamically. Do you have a good liver, strong heart, etc.? Will you get grey hair early? It's all in the chart. It's all there. Now, I don't know how to tell whether you're going to get grey hair early, because I don't know that. There may be astrologers out there that do know that. But my specialties are the things that I do and do well. And then there is Violet's as well. I would really recommend one of each, because you can keep them as, separate. And we both have very, very similar style. Violet has trained before. She watched my presentations a couple of years back, but she also has a fair bit of training from me as well. And George Carey, who is the one that I learnt medical astrology from, mostly, Judith Hill, etc. So I hope that's answered. Violet might want to jump in with something and her website.
Yes. Great. Well, I was just going to go back to what you guys were talking about with the legalese, and basically, they've hijacked everything, that including our English language. So we must reclaim dominion over what is ours, our science, it's ours, and they're doing black magic over us. So we have to counteract that with white magic, simply put. The 3 pillars of high magic are astrology, the influence of the planets and the stars. Alchemy is dealing with the elements, and that is preparation for medicinal tinctures, as in spigerics or elixirs, and magic, which would be, your etymology and your astrotheology, reclaiming dominion over what is ours. And we need to find solutions for these things. And, like what Santos said, is there's nothing wrong with the word understand. And there's nothing wrong with the word believe either, because understanding and believing are key words for Pisces. Pisces is the feet, that which stands under you. It holds up all the signs before it. And, I, and the word believe too, I don't know that, brother, that you're real, because I've never met you in person. I don't know the facts about it. I believe that you're there, we don't know that there is dark force. We believe that there is. We don't know because we've never seen them. So this is the thing about the words belief and understand, is we need to reclaim dominion over these words. There's nothing wrong with it. And there's also the word Eve in believe, and she's the one that descends down and becomes adventurous, and she's the one that has hope, So there's nothing wrong with it. We need to reclaim them so we can perform good magic, so we can come together and heal one another and come together in peace, really, And my business is called Vivid Solutions. I do the medical astrology, like what Santos said. I look at the body's energy, and I have remedies for that. That's what the alchemists were trying to do, is to find remedies for their debilitated and afflicted planets in their chart. So we can do that. And we also, the whole etymology, astrotheology, and magic part, those are key rituals and key words that you say in order to evoke your guides, your spirit guides. And there's also key rituals that you can do to expel the demons from your realm, to expel the demons from your room. You burn your sage, you have an altar, you make your wand, your dagger, your cup, and your pentacle, and they're doing these things. They're using these implements and doing black magic. We need to reclaim this and do good magic, and that's how I manifested what I wanted. The love of my life, Santos, is I did those things. I made a wand. I forged my own little dagger and the cup and the pentacle, and I invoked my spirit guides so I can manifest the person and the path, and open up a portal to the path that I want to be a true healer and live in truth, to simply put it simply. So
that's amazing. You said some wow, thank you for that. So your website or your page or something is what?
Well, it's vividsolutions.com. I'll put it in the link. I'll send it over to you guys. It's on Wix.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And you said some quite poignant, prolific words there about dominion. We see it that there are minions running around the dominion, these agents and so forth that are, acting principal trustees that are out of, control at the minute. So you hit the nail on the head there. It affects us in a great many areas, and there is a dark arts at work here. I haven't met the devil, the evil one, but I've felt the energy, and I've seen in man's eyes in my time as a DJ, as a warehouse manager. I've seen man pushed to the limit, forced to do things, and I've seen some crazy things happen. We all have, and this is it. We are victims of ourselves, and we are victims of this system, and we're born into a lie, and the dominion is rightfully ours. And when you read something like the Old Testament, the New Testament, the Vedas, the different scriptures and books and gospels and emerald tablets and cuneiform clay Sumerian tablets and so forth, there's stories there that make man go, wow. When I found out about the halls of Amente, I was seeing in my mind, I was taken somewhere else, and I was like, I'm sure I've dreamt about this. And I was reading it and I was like, we feel so, you know, microcosm in the macrocosm, but there's a lot we can do for ourselves. And I do believe that, like, yeah, I've got a crystal here. I don't, you know, it's on a silver chain, but it's just a little crystal skull. I like the stories of the crystal skulls, and, you know, I like, yeah, the vibrational frequency of things. And there's a lot we can do for ourselves, but there's a lot to learn. And there is a magic, bottom line. Some would say, oh, she sounds a bit like a witch or something, but no, there is good and there is evil intent and projection. And, you know, out there in the realm of the world, you can get free Wi-Fi, but go and try and get free water. You know, that's another deal. You know, you can get free things that will enable you to do commerce. They will give to us things that, you know, harness life and allow us to pursue the, you know, live in the pursuit of happiness. And we get barriers and we need licenses for, and we need to go to, I can't say that, oh, where is it? I've got a box, I've got a distiller, and I've made colloidal silver water, sister, and I've been treating psoriasis. I've been treating a chest infection that I get regular every year. Admittedly, I need to stop smoking, but I can't say that I've cured anything, because there's a Cancer Act over here in Anglo lands, and that Cancer Act prohibits man or anybody coming out and making a medicinal cure based on herbs. You know, go back to herbologists and that who's the Greek man that who did philosophy in medicine. Let medicine be your food. I always forget his name. Right. But what was his? Go on. Yeah, Hippocrates. Yeah, he was the one that, you know, herbalists, and we've gone away from that. We've gone to Monsanto and Pfizer and Cargill and other such conglomerate corporate entities that are making Terminator seeds. Who makes them? Why would you make a Terminator seed? You know, the things that they use to pesticides and you know, to enhance, and what they do to the animals in America, what they feed them. You know, it's we're killing ourselves. We're paying handsomely to do it. And you're right, we do need to encapsulate and build upon systems of our own and go back to the older ways in law, in science, in faith, not religion. Religions are controlled, as brothers put it there, you know, and I'm sure we could continue at another day on many subjects. You know, the religions are re-lig on, you know, to bind, the binding mechanisms, you know, and we see that we have faith now, and this trust technology is not new. There's a guy called Christian Walters that's done some work on YouTube and public that brother Richard told us about, of the Ansar clan. And when we found out about these triangles and pyramids, we was confused and we didn't know the power of it. And there's a lot of power here in these trusts. And as I want to wrap it up, like, because I know you're not very, you know, strong and so forth, and thank you for, you know, your time and everything. But these trusts that we talked about, and when I mentioned to you about the types of trust, brother, that we have, the testamentary proclamations with the bull papil and the innocent Boniface convocation, attorney regis, and CQV, and I explained they were testamentary from the ecclesiastical side. But yet we have legal trusts, the Trustee Act 2000 and the governance of that for all trustees of the United Kingdom, the Trustee Act 2000, estates and estates in revision, land registry. You know, we've really cracked open the legal trusts, the public statutory constructed trust that we're in, and also the express private trust that man can make to man, with man, on YouTube, without a court, without a stamp, without a manor roll book, without a privacy seal, without a coat of arm, with a covenant. You know, I can't make a contract with any entity as me, David, because I have a covenant with what you said earlier, with the Elohim Ra and the divinity. And some of us speak up and put ourselves out there, and we do get attacked, and we suffer it in many ways. It can be an energetic, vampiric attack, like through YouTube and comments and users, or it could be through Facebook, it could be through your own blog, it could be that you just can't sleep for some reason and you're getting bad vibes, and you can be attacked over the airwaves. There are people on YouTube that have been used by the government to go and astrologically travel places to find shit out. They're allegedly behind the dark side of the moon and everything. So on this realm, there are many things that man doesn't understand. And when we don't understand it, it generates fear and rejection. And so I want to thank you both for putting yourselves out here tonight, attending, bringing what you've brought to the table. I'm not shutting the hangout down. I'm just trying to wrap up so we don't endlessly wander. And what Violet has said there, I don't know you. I've never met you. I don't know you from Eve, you know, but you sound and your applied intent in your knowledge there of etymology. I was outside then going, yes, because I'm happy for Santos, because you sound like a right catch. You sound like you're both in love and besotted with each other. You've got a good connection and you can both balance each other and help. And I think, I feel very honoured to have, found out all this and brought it to the subscribers of Indiglo and the realm of the YouTube. And I just think there's a wands. What significance do wands have for those that don't know, Violet?
Well, the wand is a representation of the element of air, and it corresponds to the archangel Raphael, and it's associated with and its color is yellow. In astrology, the color red is fire, yellow is air, earth is green, and water is blue. So specifically, the wand is for the element of air, for communications. So when you use the wand, it's intended to be used, by yourself. It's supposed to be kept, for your hands only, really, because I put crystals on my wands, and the crystals, they're absorbent. They absorb all the energies around it, so your energy must go into it. So and it's about communicating with your spirit guides and to invoke your angels. Really, it's an invocation of the good energy. And specifically with the dagger, I make also wands with obsidian shards that's supposed to resemble the element of fire, and it's represented as the archangel Michael or Mikhail, and he is associated with the south, and his color is red. So that is supposed to expel all of the negative energies. So there's different, I call them intentional implements, is what I'm calling them on my page. The wands and the daggers.
All right, because you focus your intent with that onto that. Yeah, all right, yeah, I get that.
And then I put some copper wire around the wand, because copper is known to be it invokes very positive, good energy. It's very important to have copper around you. I always have copper around my wrist. I always use my elements. I've got crystals all over. I've got my crystal rings, necklaces. For me, I need fire opal for Mercury, agates. I need carnelian, red jasper for Mars. So
my mum would love you. My mum does all this, but I don't understand it. But she tells me the same, and I'm like, what? Yeah, it's very complex, all of this, the significance. But yeah,
it is
amazing.
It goes into detail, but to put it simply, the 4 elements correspond to the 4 implements that that are used for invoking good energy and expelling the bad. So yeah.
So if anybody is on the video, what I'd say is I'll post the links shortly, or if there's any ones that are any of the Blue Man group, you can post links. You're authorized to do that. You have authority because I've given you the blue tool there, so you can assist me doing that, and I'll make sure they're in. If they get in touch with you, I'd like them to say, reference sovereign. This video is a sovereign video for more than one concept. I didn't realize where we was going to go in quite so many areas and in some depth. So I'd just like them to, if they do contact you, use this reference as sovereign. Maybe there might be a chance of you two getting on the same call and doing it. I don't know if you could do them simultaneous, or would you need to do them separate readings?
Oh, we could do it together. Yeah.
Would that help, or would that make it worse? Yeah, I'm just thinking for
No, it depends. It depends. But it can be done that way. It is, I mean, it's up to the individual. What do they want? You know, if they want that, then they can ask for that. You've just got to meet your demand right now. So what is that? If you haven't done a chart reading, you should just do a 30-minute one, you know, just to get to know a general reading if you've never done this, if it's the first time. So because the way I explain it, I share the screen, I teach you how to read the chart. And I insist that I do it that way. I'm not going to just keep my screen to myself. I'm a teacher. So I want to teach the people that I read the chart with. So I don't want to, and I have a technique now whereby I can teach it very quickly. So the first 5 to 10 minutes, I explain to you what you're actually looking at so that you understand everything that you see in front of you. You will understand what it is. All right. And essentially what it is you have to look at that wheel of the zodiac as a 24-hour clock. Just keep that in mind. That's a tip. I won't go any more, but it's a clockwise turning mechanism. Okay. So if you look at it that way, you can go into these free websites and you can play around with, you go forward 6 hours, backwards 6 hours, and you can see the position of the sun, and you'll see that the sun goes to the top at the 12 o'clock position at midday every day, right?
Yeah.
And then at the very, and then opposite.
Hello? Is he gone?
Where'd he go?
Wait a minute, it might be a glitch.
Oh, sorry. What happened? Where did I go off?
You went, and then opposite, and then it just stopped.
Okay, so opposite is where midnight point is. So once you see and understand this, you'll see that what you're looking at is a clock, and this is how all clocks should look. They should have 20 hours on them. The military clocks have it. So when you look at it, you can pull it up now while I'm speaking. Go to Google Images and pull up an astrological chart. And what you will see is a 24-hour clock going clockwise. And yet the signs are displayed anti-clockwise, and so are the houses, and so are the planets. The planets are traveling anti-clockwise along the ecliptic yearly, but the whole thing daily rotates clockwise, all the planets going around in the signs, clockwise, every 24 hours. Now, that is the biggest truth that will advance you in every dimension of your life that you will ever learn. I've given you the greatest thing that I can share with you, that astrological wheel is a 24-hour clock. Now you, because you are intelligent, the listener, you're going to take that to many, many deep places. Deep, deep and clear. Because remember, Tesla said there are those who think deeply and then there are those who think clearly.
Tesla.
Okay. So you want clairvoyance to see clearly? Well, you need to now get on the road of learning astrology. It's so imperative. The Egyptians said, you will not ascend unless you understand this language. You must speak this language to ascend to the gods, to the stars. That's why the pastors were put there to teach you that language. But they're teaching you a literal Roman Jesus. Oh, you know, Jesus said you've got to pay to Caesar what's Caesar's, and he said you've got to just bend over when the... No, he didn't. He didn't. Not the true Jesus, but their Roman, dumbed down, redacted, historical, tax collecting Peter's Pence Jesus. That's the wrong Jesus, folks. I'm not against Jesus, by the way. I'm a Christian. I'm a Neoplatonist. I love Jesus. I love Christianity. Love it. I love it. It's a beautiful science. And It's our science. We of the West, we are Christian by DNA. We don't have a choice. We are Christian. We are, because we are christened. We are a special people. Not that Africans are not. Oh, they are very special. Not that Indians are not. But we tend to think we need to go to India to get our enlightenment. We need to become a Buddhist. Those are great theologies as well. But we are Christian by DNA. Because remember, when Jupiter, see, Jupiter and Europa and the bull, that motif, right? Well, Jupiter we know is Jesus, Jupiter, Zeus, Jesus. And he is associated with Europa. Well, that's Europe.
Yeah.
You see the connection? You see the Greeks were telling us that we are Jupiterian. We're happy-go-lucky, magnanimous Europeans. We are Jupiterian. Christendom means where Jesus, Jupiter, Zeus, rules Europa, Europe. So it's in our DNA, folks. Christianity is not 2,000 years old. Okay? Christianity is indefinite. It always has been. It always will be. It's the science of light.
May I just...
And that's...
Yeah. Go on, carry on. It's just I want to say something after.
And the church fathers admit this. Augustine, Saint Augustine of Hippo, Eusebius, all of the greats of, well, they were Catholic, of course, but the Catholic Church was very, very different back then in Constantine's time. Very corrupted, but very different to what it is now. And they admitted that Christianity, we've only just started using that term, but it's been around since the beginning of time. There never was a time when there was not Christianity. I don't know how many times I've read this from the church fathers, from the historians. So I know this. I repeat these things. People may think, oh, that's your opinion. No, it's not. I don't do opinions. I don't bother with opinions. I don't like my own opinions anyway. I don't like when I'm opinionated. I don't like it. So I try to be humble, not in, being weak and submissive and silly, humble. I mean to have a heart that is open and a mind that is open to the truth that I'm a researcher and a truther. So I've got a responsibility and a duty to learn the truth. Well, I would say to learn truth, not that truth. That truth is conditioned truth. Truth is unconditioned truth. So, the Jehovah's Witnesses say, oh, we have the truth. Oh, yes, you do. I agree. You do. You do. You have your own set of truth. That's what they mean. Mm. But the deluded poor little minions, they think that they're talking about that they have universal unconditioned truth. No, they don't, because they have, and they tell you they have, that truth. The indefinite article is a conditioned truth. It's, for instance, if I said the air and just air, they're two different things. Yeah. The air in this room is moist, whereas I can't say air is moist. It's the air because I'm speaking about a certain air. And so this is how they get you in legalese with their indefinite articles, the. It doesn't mean what you think it means. That's why John 1:1, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Well, some translations say was a God. Right, well, that's the indefinite article. You see how important it is? This is how they trick you. And so with their articles and prepositions that have many meanings. So, yeah. When you awaken to this, you free yourself bit by bit. You break the chains and you do it slowly and gracefully. You don't do it like I did. I didn't do it gracefully. I was attacking, and I didn't know what I was doing. So I was just throwing punches in the air.
I was. I did the same at the beginning. It happens. Man does that. Because I got into this to do with access to my assets, which we called children back then. And I had a barrister. I went to a high court, and I suffered parental alienation. And I'm since calmed down and realised what a mockery of it all it is. And I could look at taking some people for crimes now against man in the European Court of Human Rights, should I want to lay claim for damages and so forth. But yeah, I was angry, and we must stress that it's honourability now, how we hold ourselves. But I want to just put a pin in that, because priests and people that study stars, then they've got to be priest-like, or the clergymen themselves will include clergymen, men of the cloth, bishops, archbishops, all of these hierarchy, popes especially, and then the ones that studied the stars, some kind of priest or something that I presume were vegetarian, or I would imagine would want to be vegetarian, on a wholesome diet. What you put in, you get out, inwardly projecting a good path. And let's say that I would imagine they might want to abstain from sexual intercourse, because it was you, brother, on a random hangout that made me that shattered my mind, because you told me a metaphor of Jesus and Mary and Joseph and the 33 vertebrae and the Christ oil, and the ascension up the spine of the larder, Lord. You said Lord, larder, oil going up, a 33 vertebrae, and then at the top of that there's a cross, where Jesus is crucified, and after a certain amount of time there is a transgression of the rebirth of Jesus in the pineal gland. Could you just go over that, just to encapsulate? Did I get that? Am I on the right lines there?
Perfect. Wonderful.
What is that? Hello, Jesus.
You are.
Go on.
You're a very, very good student of syncretism. I'm astounded at. I've been listening. I was listening a few minutes ago. You also did a bit of syncretism and etymology, and you are a very good student. And I want to say, there's a lot of good students. Violet is why I love Violet so much. Is she is a devotee of syncretism like none other I have ever seen. I call her the high priestess of syncretism, and it's just for the love of truth and the love of knowledge. Knowledge is difficult to get and dangerous to share. Plato said, the knowledge of the true God is very difficult to acquire and very dangerous to publish.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and for that love, we must be persecuted. That's the way it goes. But you mentioned lard. Lard is the oil, and the Christos oil is the Lord lard. They are both interchangeable, and they make the law. The Lord makes the law, and the law is that you must return the lard back to heaven heaved up in the cranium beyond the 33rd atlas vertebrae. And so that is the crucifixion in Golgotha, the skull, in Calvary, the skull, that Jesus is crucified at the top of the vagus nerve at the crucifixion, where the vagus nerve crosses over the medulla oblongata, and there are the progenitors of the chrism Christ lard, Joseph and Mary, the pineal gland and the pituitary gland, one producing milk, one producing honey, the land of milk and honey, dimethyltryptamine, etc., and all the hormones and all of the glandular fluids. They are all produced and differentiated in the third ventricle. And where does that oil come from? The manna from heaven. It comes from the claustrum, the Santa claustrum, just above the third ventricle. And that's called the holy claustrum, or the Santa Claus at the North Pole. And that manna from heaven drips down into the third ventricle. It's pure. and it gets differentiated. In other words, separated. The pituitary body makes a negative down the ida part of the nervous system, and then the pineal gland produces a positive fluid down the pingala side. And so then it passes through the thyroid and gets further differentiated again. Then the thymus and gets differentiated more. And then it reaches the sacrum after going through all the glands and getting differentiated and diluted. And it becomes part of the semen of the man. And what's happened is the cult of death that has infiltrated our plane has taught us to eat death, hence carcass crunches, and to throw away the Holy Spirit, the semen, during sex. So we have a class of onanistas, which is the Japanese word for ejaculators, because it comes from the biblical Onan, the son of Judah, the Jew, who wasted his seed. These are seed wasters, left-hand pathers. These are men who are incontinent. So in tantric sex, you learn to have your orgasms up the spine so that the seminal fluid is now returning up the spine. You're forcing it up the spine. And as it goes through the nervous system, this is the cerebrospinal fluids, it gets refined and it gets purified back to its not only does it get recombined and reconstituted, it becomes, in alchemy they say, that oil returned, that lard, to the Lord in heaven, Aries, the cerebram, the Lamb of God in heaven, it becomes magnified 1,000 times. So when you practice proper sex, which is what Violet and I teach and engage in, I have been since the middle of 2015 with my then wife Hiromi, and I started practicing it then and developing, and I've learned a lot of things along the way and areas where you can make mistakes and how to do it properly. So the people who argue, oh yes, you need to have an orgasm, yes, you do, but that's only half true. You need to have what's called a pneumatic orgasm, a spiritual orgasm. And you can only do that when you ascend that fluid up the spinal cord. You see, it has to ascend like a distillery. It has to get purified again. And this is multiplicative. As it goes through the chakras and goes high, it gets more refined. And according to George Carey, he says its magnification and its power multiplies each time until it reaches the third ventricle, where it gets magnified 1,000 times, and all the dormant brain cells in the cerebrum are reactivated. And this is called the christening, the return to heaven, to Christ. And what happens is the pineal gland now produces what's called the blood of Christ. And all the blood is purified of all its impurities and the cerebrospinal nervous system. And one is a Christ. One has ascended. This is the ascension process. You cannot achieve this whilst eating flesh and its contaminated blood particles. You can't do this. This is why Pythagoras was vegetarian, Plato, Porphyry, the greatest astrologer who ever lived. They were all vegetarian. And they insisted that the adept and the initiate become vegetarian before taking on the rites and learning the sacred process of ascension. So when you read the Bible and you hear Jesus saying, what? to Nicodemus, do you not know you are a teacher in Israel and you do not know how to be born again? This is this is what it means to be born again, not what they're teaching in those corporate churches. And he says, unless you raise up the Son of Man, as Moses did, raised up the brazen serpent in the wilderness, unless you raise up the Son of Man, you will not be born again. So what does this mean? Well, the Son of man is manna, and the Son of Man is, every month you have an opportunity to birth a Christ in your solar plexus. And if you ejaculate, you will destroy this process. And this is the son of manna, because the manna that descended from the claustrum has now been transmuted, or is attempting to be transmuted and sublimated, as in a distillery, as it goes and it returns to its original place. It's like gold. It must be purified, purged, purgatory. So we are in purgatory, and we are purging these elements inside of us. And as we raise the Son of Man, as Moses symbolized in the wilderness, the serpent, the brazen serpent going up the Kundalini, it's teaching that we must raise this manna back to heaven. So these are things that I teach that are crucial, that you won't hear a lot in with most of these teachers. They're teaching truth, yeah, but a lot of it's just entertainment. A lot of it's half truth. It's very sad, because people who are on the path of truth get diverted because they've got very exciting channels, lots of subscribers. They're making a lot of noise, you know, but they're left-hand pathers, which means anything goes. They're not on the right-hand path, which means purity, distillation, you know, the process, the alchemical process of turning lead into gold. It's not a joke, you know. There is a way to do it, and we have the way. We are practicing the way.
That's incredible. There's a, you know, metaphorically speaking, it now makes it clear why there is an abstinence in the cloth, the clergy, any kind of, you know, Buddhist, Shaolin, not just Christian, in most of the mastery of the realm, where one has mastered, or man, different cultures of man, as you've said, Africans, Indians, Chinese, Greeks, Italians, Romanians, Serbians, Hungarians, whatever, they've mastered. And you look at them and you go, have you done that? Practice, sacrifice, devotion, and abstinence mentally under the temple, in the dome, under the dome here at the temple, coming into play. And there's another mentor of mine that I accidentally stumbled across, and I'll put a link into the chat room for the viewers and subscribers. He's called Chiron Last, and he did a 3-part video set called The Golden Web. And he talks about etymology for 6 hours across 3 videos, and it's mostly just words on the screen. And he comes up with some statistics and says, out of 500,000, roughly, you know, I'll paraphrase, he says, out of 500,000 men that watch this, immediately within the first hour, so many will switch off and not bother with any more of that. Out of those that are left, we'll say 250,000. He says after the first hour and a half, so many will go. And he puts all these statistics out, and I stayed with the video. Turns out he's done more. And I found one about Christmas, and it's in here. I'll put the link in this video replay, you know, the comments. And he says in there that with regards to fornication and this you know, pleasure system that we have, there are dings and tings, and it's in the language. You mentioned about the Christmas and the occult, Santa, St. Nicholas, St. Nick, where the word St. Nick come from, Old Nick, St. Old Nick. And yeah, I'll pay homage to him, because he and you together, wow, yeah, it's really helped us see. And we say substance over the form, like you've said. You don't believe, you don't say anything that you can't stand on and reference and know that it is 100%, you know, I'm trying not to say fair income, but I've got to say it once. He's, bona fide, justified, honourable, 100%. And that's it in life, these dings that apparently the youth, MTV, all right, Nickelodeon, we'll go Nickelodeon, and we'll use the girl that our kid watches all the time, Ariana Grande. And she was a little innocent girl on it. Well, I say innocent, Disney Club, and she's in a TV show. The 8-year-olds are watching that, and Ariana Grande is about 12. The 8-year-olds are the fans, and as Ariana's getting older, the music industry is getting like the hooks in her now, thinking, well, yeah, we'll get her in this music video next. We'll get her wearing short clothes, and Jezebel. I'm trying not to go too deep on this, but Jezebel gets introduced, and our kid starts wanting to wear this, emulate that, and I'm like, no. You don't understand, Yanka. This is not for you. We'll let you, maybe we govern and we allow some limitation, but it's just very, very, very bad. And the empire, the industry that we're so proud of, the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, UK independent, Britain first supporters, what are you supporting out here? Because what we're going to bring to the table of the working class and shock to the middle class, because they're being scared by all of this, is the substance that when you find this stuff and you look at reality and you compare it, you see that it is actually what it is. And it's like you said with the language, they've written it mortgage. They didn't hide it anywhere. It's not like, it's cryptic. We're quite lucky. Dyslexic and people that are like on the autistic spectrum, I'm finding, are exceptionally acute. And once you point out a little bit, the rest just comes like a matrix, a torrent, and they just sit decoding for us, like saying, what about this? And they go off looking. And this sexuality bit is the bit where, man, I never thought that these words, as an ex-DJ from Balearic Islands and warming up for famous DJs in my time, would never say these words, but I will say them, that it is a distraction. The music, the entertainment, the drugs and the sex, the hacienda. You won't know this, brother and sister, but early 90s, drugs, rave, distraction for the youth, taking ecstasy, thinking there was all in this place that was like off limits and illegal and, all underground. And they were taking drugs, but the drugs will be supplied by the ones that was orchestrating it and distracting these. They were taking ecstasy that was made and the elite profited from. These things that we do are often orchestrated, and the sexual integration with the drugs is where we are as a society over here. Our youth are just fascinated with not wanting to work, earning money fast. Who wants to be a millionaire? I'm a sovereign. Get me out of here. That's what's coming next. I shit you not, because we can't take no more. We really can't. And this bit, what you've said there with the distraction, that's how society, not just the religion and the money, they're two major ones. There's that as well, and it's ever so subtle. And that box in your front room, that just it's a powerful weapon. It really is a powerful, more so, I'd argue, than one of the cannons of the cannibalized laws of the them weapons that the church uses, or even the biggest gun that is out there now, military gun. These TVs are quite a weapon, and they get into your children into the ways, and they get you to follow these unholy pathways, and you think it's normal, but is it normal? That's what you're told, that's what we're programmed, isn't it? And it's quite detrimental to us, and we're not making it up to get extra viewers, or to sell a book, or to get anything. This is what we've actually found, and we're finding to be true. And what the brother said there, it took me quite a bit for it to sink in. When you think about the crucifixion, did it for me. Dodgy Doctors is a YouTube channel. I'll give him the credit for that. Crucifixion. What does that word mean, brother? Crossifixion in a translation, might it not? Incredible. It really is.
Yep. Lovely. Christmas. That's one. Christmas is another way of saying Christ myth. And myth is not a meaningless, empty story. It is full of truth. A myth contains more truth then you know what I mean. So the Christ myth is that Christ is always born in Capricorn. Why? Well, because the sun is right at the Tropic of Cancer. It's at the solstice, and it's small. It's winter. It's cold. You know, you've got your little Christmas tree and snow and chimneys and Santa Claus and all of this nice myth stuff. It's all beautiful. There's nothing wrong with this. People want to throw the baby out with the bathwater and curse Christmas because it's got pagan origins and it's they're not sure about it, and etc. No, these are all ecliptic celebrations. We should get to know the ecliptic. Christmas is the Christ myth. That the goat in Capricorn, sorry, I said the Tropic of Cancer before, didn't I?
Yeah.
The sun now is approaching the Tropic of Capricorn, and down there, it's being born. You see, because now there's a 180-degree waxing cycle for the sun. That's 6 months of waxing sun, climbing, and then shortly after winter, you know, around Pisces, they've got Lent. Well, Lent is just short for lengthening because the sun is lengthening. Then finally, at the equinox in March, it passes over the Easter, the Passover. Yes, because now the sun has passed over from the bottom half of the circle. And now it's climbing up to the Tropic of Cancer, and it's in the waxing top half, not the waxing bottom half of the circle. So everything's positive, everything's great. And then when the sun hits the Tropic of Cancer, it's all crabby downhill from there. Crabby. Yeah. The goat at Capricorn climbs the hill, waxing, and the crab slides down like the scarab crab of the Egyptians, going down the mound with his dung. And so that's why you have the crab at the Tropic of Cancer. And so do you know the myth? Do you know the goat spell of Capricorn? If you don't know the Gospels, there's thousands of Gospels. There's not just the four, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Goat spell.
There's millions of Gospels. Every poem is a Gospel. You know? And they all start in Capricorn or Aries. The fish and the goats and the sheep, because Aries is the beginning of the astrological year, the seasonal year, spring, summer, autumn, winter. But they are both beginning points. This is why April Fools came about, to discourage the true Christians from keeping the true start of the year, astrologically speaking, in Aries, and they brought the secular Capricorn, you see, because Capricorn is the secular sign. It's the sign of the Mason, the king, the prince, political infrastructure. Aries is the Lamb of God. It's spiritual. That's the priest. So you start your spiritual year at the spring clean of Easter, always. But your secular year, where you do commerce and you do transactions, well, that's the JC Anno Domini calendar, and that starts in January 1st, not April Fools. So, and this has been going on since 1758, when the English succumbed to the Roman JC calendar. Now, I want to finish with this, brother. You mentioned Anno Domini at the very, very start. Well, who is that Dominus? Who is the Lord? The year of the Lord. It's 2018, in the year of the Lord.
Oh.
Well, it was yeah. Well, it was JC, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, Julius Caesar, not Jesus Christ. Julius Caesar is the Dominus, the Lord, and his son Augustus, because it's the Augustine implemented JC calendar, the Julian calendar. Well, you see, that calendar, that's in your court systems. That's how they get you, because you're going in there at a certain date. You know, oh, we've got a court hearing on the 20th of December 2018. We better turn up. Well, that's a copyrighted calendar, guys. You don't really have authority to use it in one sense if you want to be pedantic, but I won't go there because there's ways of getting around it, of course. So if you conditionally accept that date. So that calendar was created to dominate you in your anus. Anus. And that calendar, all these Christians going around thinking, oh, because Jesus was born back then, it's Anno Domini, it's pinned to Jesus. That's how we know he was historical. Yeah, that's how we've all been fooled, because it's Julius Caesar. Okay, there's many books written on this, many books. I've read them all.
Yeah.
I've read and watched Joseph Atwill. I've seen now his name's I was going to say him first and I decided to say him second. The guy who did Caesar's Messiah, who pointed out that there are so many similarities with JC and JC. One crosses the Rubicon, one crosses the Jordan. One goes to Capernaum, one goes to Capernaum. One gets betrayed by Judas, one gets stabbed in the back by Brutus. One has what was I going to say? Oh, look, the list goes on. Go and see that guy. I hope I can remember his name before we finish the call. But he's an Italian guy, speaks German and Spanish. He's busted it. JC and Anno Domini, it's all the Julio-Claudian Empire and Flavian. Remember Flavius Josephus?
Yeah.
So it's the Julio-Claudio, Flavian, Justinian, Constantinian, Theodosian bloodlines, brothers and sisters. And they are the black nobility. They are the globalists. They have their globalist agenda. They are in a death cult. They eat and murder your children and plunder lands and communities and property, and they are the masters of destruction. But it's nothing personal. It's just business. They're doing their job. They serve God, the demiurge. Okay, we serve Prime Creator. Our source is of an origin way superior to theirs. I liken it to a projector and a screen. When you see the people on the screen, you know that their source is in the projector. Now, if you jump in between the projector and the screen, you can cast your shadow onto the projector and you can move in such a way as to interact with the people on the screen. But you are not of the same source. They are real because their source goes back to the projector to source. These interlopers, these intercessors, mediators who are playing God over the world, they've jumped in our timeline with their mental virus and religion and all their bullshit. And they are shadow beings. They don't have souls because they don't go back to source. They are jealous of us. They want to murder us, exterminate us, extinguish us. It's Cain and Abel, okay? But they are doing their job. In their process of doing this to us, they are teaching us. You know, they're teaching us what mortgage really means. Oh, so I signed a mortgage 30 years ago when I got into. I see. Wasn't I an ignorant idiot? They were trying to tell us. They have to warn us of the harm they're going to do to us, you know, and they usually do, but not always. But the point is they cheat, and they're cheaters. We're not, and that's why we're losing at the moment, because we're trusting in the Lord, okay, in the law of the universe, and so, but they. You can see it in their eyes. They don't have a soul like us. They feed off our souls. They are parasites, inconvenient parasites, and they are redundant. So, and they know they are. So that's why they're pulling all their last tricks now, right at the end. It's right at the end of the 7-year tribulation, started in 2012, and it finishes in 2019. It's all over in 2019. It's all done and dusted. And so they're just playing by their playbook. The Bible has their playbook encoded in it for them, and it also has another code in there for us. We raise the Lord, the manna, from knowing that it is a biological alchemical process interwoven and encoded in the Bible, so we can do the raising, turning our lead into gold and sublimating our vices into virtues. Okay, so this is what is encoded there for us, but they are just doing their job, you know. So and in a way that we are waking up really quick, thanks to them. Okay, so that's how it works. Nothing personal, guys. I took it personal. That's where I went wrong. So moral of the lesson of the story for me is, do not let your ego get in the way. I wasn't understanding my ego. I wasn't understanding my lower ego. And my rising sign is Leo, and it's very fierce. My ego, my mask, my personality that I put on is a lion, you know. And so I that got in the way. That lion is an attention-seeking line. Not necessarily attention-seeking, but attention-getting. Some Leo risings are attention-seeking. Others are just attention-getting. And I always manage to draw attention. And sometimes it's bad attention.
Me too. Guilty. Idiot. I'm an idiot at times. Yeah, it happens. Can I just say, October and September, sept is meaning 7, is it not? The sept from Egypt, the calendar. I'm a bit confused by these positionings of the numerical value. September 7 is number 10. September, October, even number 10. What's going on? Well, why have we got these misplaced, names there? If it's been signs of manipulation or, movement of.
Okay. So they say that for this 12-month calendar, Augustus and Julius Caesar both inserted July and August. And what they did was they displaced the 7th month, September, and October, the 8th month.
7 and 8, yeah,
to 9 and 10. Now, see, this is why the true calendar is from Aries, begins from Aries, because the Romans used to call March, the first month, Aries, they used to call that Primus, the first. Then Secundus was Taurus, April. Then Tertius, Gemini. Quartius, Cancer. Quintius, Leo. Sextius, Virgo. And Libra is September. Okay, the equinox of Libra happens in the autumnal equinox happens in September, where Set, the 7th sign, Libra, Set Saturn exalts in Libra. Okay, so what you have is the 7th September was originally. That shows you exactly why the month should begin with Aries. Of course, they're in March, Primus. So those months now, they changed the calendar, probably to hide the fact that they were going to switch to a secular year beginning in Capricorn, which is fine because you need to pay bills and do commerce. So it's a good calendar. There's nothing wrong with it. For people who say, oh, we should revert back to the equinox starting the year, and yeah, we do that spiritually. That's our spiritual calendar. Okay, but to pay bills and do commerce, the calendar we've got is very practical and it works and it's accurate. Okay, so we don't need to change anything. We just need to improve everything, you see, and tweak it a bit. And so that's answering that question. But the 12 months were always there because everything was always 12. And how do I know this? Here's another thing to finish with. You hear many, even astrologers, saying that the Greeks in the Hellenic period included and introduced Libra into the zodiac, and Libra's new and blah, blah, blah. And this is all lies. I mean, the Dendera stone from Egypt, which is at least 450,000 years old, because if you watch my Iamblichus presentation that I did, you'll see quotes from Porphyry, from Iamblichus, saying that the Chaldeans and Egyptians have records going back 450,000 years, astrological records. Okay, so the Dendera stone has got Libra in it. Okay, so the Greeks didn't introduce anything. I'm going to do a presentation soon on the 36 deacons and the Dendera stone, showing how they are all the same as they were 450,000 years ago as they are today in my astrological chart readings. You can look at the Dendera stone and you will see all the deacons. Perseus in Aries, Cassiopeia in Aries, Triangulum in Aries, Orion, Eridanus, and Auriga in Taurus. You will see Canis Major in Gemini. It's in the Dendera stone in the Louvre Museum. It's 50,000 years minimum of history, if not 450,000 years, folks. You know, when you learn something, learn it good. Okay, don't just learn it deeply, learn it clearly, because this is what's making lots of these so-called truthers just fail, in my opinion. They don't have all their T's dotted, I's dotted and T's.
Yeah.
They don't have all the bits, and so it's very important to have the right perspective. You need to read books. You need to do a lot of research.
Due diligence.
I did decades.
Due diligence. You know, speaking, putting yourself out there. We're tired. I have a lot to do, many things, and you do yourself. We all do, and we get dates. You know, I'm a little bit dyslexic, brother, and I don't mind saying these. 1882, the year, then the abbreviation BOE, or and certain bits that we've got these acts. And when we're looking at the legal society and their governance, it was incredibly hard for me. And and others say, oh, but well, how do we learn all of this? And you say we don't need to worry about that. But I wanted to learn it, to work out how to deconstruct it in a certain way, other than banging pots and pans and getting man arrested and earning the crown revenue, as we have seen done time and time again. So, there's a certain way there of seeing it, and you just need to make that relevant, that it's understood. But thank you. There's a lot here in the chat room, saying thank you for the time. It's good to see you back, and there's a lot of similarities with the comments, and you're one of the most favorite people's speakers. What you do, very calm and collective. It's been a good hangout by all accounts here. For yourself, I've put some links in for your channels and some videos for your channel, and some of your relevant talks there as well, brother. And it's been well received. And I hope I'll send you the link. Like, you know where it is anyway. And there's no adverts going on here. This is just for the love of it, and to get all this expressed and out there and across. So it's been really good. Does Violet have anything she wants to say or close with before we get off then? And I'll say thank you to the chat room and everybody, as well as yourselves. And what an incredible hangout. I can't believe I've been so calm. It's my one of my bucket list things has been struck off. So thank you very much indeed for this. It's been I hope in time you'll come back and meet Andy and a couple of others, in due course. But
thanks, David. Thank you kindly. I did cancel the other one, and I apologize to everybody sincerely. I cannot do presentations when I've been tortured all night long, and having baths, hot baths with bentonite clay, Epsom salts, apple cider vinegar, all kinds of infusions and essential oils, borax, sometimes hydrogen peroxide. And by the time that morning, I was out of the bath at 4 a.m. That's when I was writing to you, telling you I have to cancel. I don't feel too good when I come out of that bath, guys. I'm a wreck, but it's the only way to stop the itching. And the itching is an insidious, sadistic, evil, hideous itch. It's ticklish. It gets in my eyelids and tickles my eyes. Imagine that in the middle of the night. In my ears. It goes in my ears. And it's like someone's doing it like real clever like, and they're getting a real kick out of it, you know. And I've been tortured like this for 10 years. You can ask my first wife, you can ask my second wife, my sisters. My mother's seen it. My mother's seen the hell. I'd get up in middle of the night when I was staying there having baths with apple cider vinegar and everything. And people don't know this. People don't know this about me because I've got a lot of energy and I recover really quick. And thanks to Violet, and I thank you for the compliment you gave, Violet, because you were right. She is my savior. I call her my savior. She saved me. And I wish she had turned up 30 years ago, because I would never have done the dumb shit that I've done in my life if I had her by my side. She's my savior and my healer. She's healed me. The moment I met her at the airport when she came to visit, that's when I fell in love with her. The beautiful copper Venetian Piscean Venus exalted in Pisces energy that she has. And I've got a very martial energy. And she just started the healing process from that day. And I really mistreated her through those awful 8 months of torture. And she survived all of it. She survived everything in shining colors, 10 out of 10 in everything. And so I really want to share with people that I'm halfway there and I'm getting healthier all the time, but this thing is lingering. What I really need to do is probably, see, I've gone from a moldy house to another moldy house. It's better, but I won't be much longer here in this place. He's going to sell it. So lovely guy, vegan, everything that I stand for, he is right with it. He's a lovely guy, David. So I need to get in a drier place and what have you. So but I'm fighting these things as I go, dealing with the mold, etc. So it's a process. But the point is, I do believe I'm getting better. Now, I have said that before and gotten worse. Yeah. So I don't know, because I had 2 months there and I was sleeping so well and very little itching. It came and went within, say, 5 minutes, whereas it used to be 23 hours a day. And so, but it did come back in the last couple of weeks, and especially when I had to cancel, and it also came back last night. I didn't sleep a wink, and it destroyed my concentration. I was really worried that I wouldn't be able to concentrate, but I don't know. I felt quite good through the whole interview and presentation. So energy's good, but I am in the background feeling very, very tired. So yeah, thank you, David, for persisting. I really appreciate that, because you're very loving. You're Libran, aren't you? Yeah, you're
Taurus. No, I'm the bull. I'm a Taurus, brother.
I know okay. So Taurus is ruled by Venus as well, and the moon exalts in Taurus, and that is the sign of love. So both of those Venetian signs, including Pisces, are all about love. Taurians speak their voice. They are philosophers. They love wisdom, and they love love and beauty. They love beauty. They love touching it, feeling it, smelling it, breathing it. They love their senses interacting with beauty and love and virtue. All right, that's it.
Excellent, incredible. Thank you both. You've done brilliant, and I'm honoured to have. I persevere because you've been a big influence, and I've told you that enough. And the viewers feel the same. The subscribers, the realm. You've made a lot of sense and dropped some things into place tonight. So yeah, I hope we'll see you again at some point, or I might come over to yours. We'll see what the future brings, and yeah, I'm tired myself. I know how you feel there, and if there's anything we can bring to you in the form of help, I've seen the chat room's got some recommendations, and I think you're doing quite a lot of it. But I'll consolidate that and pass it on to you, and you can catch up on it in your own time. So I've put this on because Babylon must fall, and that's what it's all about. It's quite a prolific T-shirt, brother. I just thought, thank you. Yeah.
Hey, brother, I just want Violet to just say something as well. I might use this opportunity, if you don't mind, if you've got a minute, I just want to say that we do have, both Violet and I are in a situation that's not very good at the moment. By accident, we trusted a immigration lawyer when she was staying here. She overstayed her visa. We went down to Brisbane to sort that out, and we got a bridging visa and hurriedly got her out of Australia. But she's now stuck in California because she cannot come back for 3 years. There's a 3-year automatic ban. And so we're going to reapply with compelling and compassionate reasons. There's a letter you can write with that. And if that doesn't work, we have other options. I'm getting my passport in order so I can move. We might go to, say, Hawaii, where she can just go there without a visa. So I'm just putting that out there that we've got a situation. If anyone can help in any way, because as you can see, Violet has got so much potential for syncretism. She's taught me so much. She's so precocious at her young age and very advanced of soul, and she's going to bring a lot to syncretism. My dream is to have an off-the-grid community somewhere, and I'll be just doing presentations. Violet and I are just absolutely 100% devoted to syncretism. We would be doing permaculture, syncretism, healing. If this inspires anyone out there, okay, I'm flexible here now. I don't want, for Violet's sakes, to wait 2.5 years now for her to return. I won't do that to her, so I'll have to either move if the reapplication fails. And I'm also getting my marriage certificate sent to me because my second marriage is still, I haven't been with my second wife for 4 years now, but I haven't attended to the divorce.
Yeah.
Well, it costs a lot of money, and I've never had the money. So I'm just putting it out there that the syncretism needs help. For what it's worth, we are trying to spearhead the return of transcendental, beautiful, healing wisdom for the earth. Fair, sovereignty, law, justice, all these good things. We can come together and be warriors together in this battle, and we can be very, very powerful. So, but where Violet is in the middle of the fires in Sacramento there near the hills is dangerous. She hates where she's staying. She's living with a father who cooks flesh every day, and the smell goes up the stairs, creeps into her room. She's burning incense and sage. She's being destroyed by this smell and the fires and the uncertainty. If anyone hears this and is in that area, please reach out to Violet and have some support. She used to have a car. She doesn't have a car now. So she's getting that sorted, hopefully, until we can find a way of getting together. So that's out there. I want people to know that. I don't mind if the universe hasn't got any help for us at this stage, but we can be a force to be reckoned with, with great wisdom and truth and syncretism for the world, and that's all we want to do.
No, we can help out with that. So if anybody wants to get information, I can pass it on and help out and be intermediate there with an email. If you haven't got any emails to give out, they can email David at splspro.com, and I can pass on to you, you know, ones that look like they can offer, and anybody that's got any information, I can just pass on or filter out to you, ones that you might want to look at straight away, and then other ones as well. Yes, it's about pulling together the resources. Common unity is what we call it. Yeah, we have that ability. So with regards to law, you know, we've talked about what we can do for you, but that we're not the experts in all of this. We've only knuckled down to trust and equity and man's divinity and the rights and non-submitting, the reservation of that. We're doing well, but so yeah. Have you got anywhere where they could contact you specifically for any of this?
Contact at universaltruthschool.com.
There you go. All right. Good. So yeah, we'll monitor that and continue to work with you. And yeah, excellent. Has Violet got anything she'd like to add or say before we're going to shut down then? Yeah.
Yes. Overall, and I think, brother, you being a Taurus would really understand this, but love is patient. And if you love yourself, you would do your due diligence and research, like what we good people have done. And love has kept me locked in to everything that I'm doing with Santos. You know, my love for him will never fail. You know, there's no way I can. He is my other half. So I've been patient with everything that he's gone through. You know, I've been patient in learning the things that I need to learn with sovereignty. I'm not well versed, but I'm getting there. And you know, I love myself. I love my body. So I'm doing my due diligence in researching my health modalities and how to protect myself from 5G with, you know, there's certain stones and crystals you can use and things like that. So I'm doing the best I can. If anybody can help me, you know, in this area, I am in a not so clean environment, you know, like what Santos said, my father is a heavy meat eater. You know, just this morning before we went on the call, he was cooking up some bacon, and it really put me in a bad mood. So, you know, people deal with it all the time. I'm pretty receptive to spiritual energy, and it's like I can hear the screams of these animals that are being tortured. And you know, my dad is being tortured by, you know, possible parasites and things like that. He's a veteran, so he's had a lot of crazy stuff happen to him. But love is patient, and I'm learning how to love my father and learning how to accept that and know that he will get another chance, you know, if he doesn't learn in this lifetime, either way. So yeah, thank you for having me.
No, it's been an honor and a privilege. Yeah, thank you. You know, we'll see you at some point in the future, and you know, another time we'll get back together. But for now, yeah, we'll see what we can do for helping. And if you've got a contact you'd like to share, is there anywhere anybody can contact you that's local to you over our friends and family across over the pond? You got anywhere where they could nudge you or an account you could give?
Yeah, I've got an email. It's violetmaybrown@gmail.com. VioletMaebrown.
That's easy, sweet and easy. violetmaybrown@gmail.com. Okay then. Yeah. So yeah, peace and love to you both. I'll let you get off because it's late. We won't have an after hangout chat or anything. We'll catch up later down the line if you want, because I know you're tired. And yeah, thank you very much. And we'll wrap up now. And yeah, grazie, ciao bello. That's what I'm going to say.
Grazie, ciao bello. and ciao bella. Talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Brother, sister, thank you. It's been incredible. Thanks very much. Peace and love to you from us all over the realm, directed to you, energy sources. All right.
Feeling the love, brother. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Babylon is falling. We have much to do, and thank you. Let's go. Thank you very much. Let's go, guys. I'll speak to you soon.
Yep.
Good morning, good day. Ciao. incredible, epic chat room. It finally happened. It's now 2 o'clock. Wow, what time did we start? 10. So incredible. Sorry, Menza, I was going to ask any views on Dr. David Hawkins, and yeah, you saw how it went. That was really good, and I was a little bit nervous. I hope I did it well. I don't know whether to watch any of the replay, but that was incredible, and I'm sure they'll be back. All right, and we'll keep you updated. There's lots more to bring you, and yes, I'm going to go and have a cigarette and crash out at 2 a.m. Saturday morning. Thank you, Santos. Thank you, Sister Violet, and we will be back with more updates. I'm not going to ruin this video by waffling on. I'm going to give you fist bumps and checking out. Peace and love, guys. Thank you very much. Babylon must fall.